by the looks of it. So it looks like some kind of weird group, I don't know, taking on the House of Black. So we've got that first of all. Then we have got later on, is it Chris Statlander against Red Velvet? I believe that's on this show as well. So that's going to be playing out in the background. But, of course, the big news today is that we do have a tag team unification match. RK Bro are going to be taking on the Usos. And we should have, I mean, there's no guarantees we will have, but we should have unified tag team champions by the end of the show. So, yeah, there is a poll in the chat, and I did see Jim mentioning about the fact why was there no draw option, and in all fairness, it was a really good point. There probably should have been a draw option there, but I think there's, I mean, look, if it's a tag team unification match, I don't quite know, they haven't quite explained the rules, because obviously there's lots of different ways you could do it. What if there's a DQ? If there's a DQ finish, then someone will win. Like, let's say someone comes down and starts beating up RK Bro, right? Let's say Roman comes down and starts beating up RK Bro. Well, RK Bro would win the match, but because it's a DQ, surely the titles don't change hands, unless there's a special rule they bring in for the unification. So I'm really interested to hear if the titles change hands. Like, maybe there's no DQ and no count out. If there's a DQ, then surely there's going to be a DQ finish, and someone will win, but they might not win the belts. You know, I think there's a good chance we will see Drew. I think there's a good chance we will see Roman. So, yeah, there's it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. Obviously, no guarantees we do get unified tag team champions, but we will find out together. We will find out together. Let me send this tweet out, and I need to kind of fix a few things here. My hat is kind of big. We can sort that. And I feel a bit blue. I feel like a Smurf. I don't know why. Like, I've got no colour in my face whatsoever. Maybe it's like the grey tops, like taking all the colour or something. So I need to fix this as well by giving myself some colour. And I don't know how to do that. Is it contrast? No. Oh. I could, I don't want to mess around too much. Jim said, I think the real unification will happen at Hell in a Cell. No, it was a really good point. I was sat here setting it up, and I saw your comment, and I was like, yeah, he is right. There should have been a draw option. So, no, I thought you made a good point. But there could still be a winner, but it might just be that the title doesn't, like, change hands. So, you know, there's still an option there. Change the hue. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I mean, like, it must be this grey shirt. It's taking all the colour. It looks like I'm either blue or grey or not healthy at all. So, I'm going to see if I can change something. Colour correction. Colour key. Let's see if I can give myself a little bit of colour. No, that's not it. Not colour key. Let's go colour correction. Maybe that's got a little hue. Okay, that's not good, is it? No, this isn't good. No. Turns out what I've actually done is I've now made it worse. So, okay, that's better. Why is mine? Oh, that might be pen. I was looking there. I was like, is that a mark? It looks like I've been in a fight. No, but I think that's pen. Hang on, I think that's a bit. Feels a bit better. What happens if we keep going this? Yeah, there it is. That's better. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect right there. That's what I was going for. A little bit of the old pink. I've done that before. I feel like I'm the kid out of Willy Wonka. Let's go somewhere around there. Right, I'm not going to faff anymore. I think that looks okay. There we go. Hollywood Guy said, what's up, Days? With more info on Sasha and Naomi, do you still stick to your opinion? Keep up the good work. I haven't seen any more info on Sasha and Naomi, to be honest. What is the more info? Sasha, Naomi. I'll tell you now, I haven't seen anything more than what we were talking about Wednesday. Sasha and Naomi has got a historic precedent. This feels different. Backstage updates on their status. I haven't got anything. I'm looking at news, and it's all from like a few days ago. So, to be honest, I mean, the only thing I've not heard any statement from them. The only thing I've heard is someone that knows them, claims to know them on Twitter, and we kind of broke all that down on Wednesday during the AEW stream. And actually, that tweet that a lot of people are referencing, I was tagged in that and sent that on Monday night, and the last video I did, I still don't like how I look, you know, by the way. The last video I did on Monday night was talking about that tweet. So we were really, really quick on that tweet when it came out. Mainly down to you guys, absolutely nothing to do with me. Down to you guys. You guys are the ones that so kindly tagged me in loads of different things. And yeah, we were on it. We were straight on it. On why have I forgot? What is going on? What is going on? I have no idea what is happening with this stream. I think that must have auto-corrected or something, so that should be preview. I feel like we need to start over. I feel like wearing this shirt was a mistake because it took all the colour away. I've got the word protein on screen and I have no idea why. It's like I'm having a breakdown here. It's like I'm losing all the colour out of my face. I'm having a breakdown. And it's all going horribly wrong. Okay, we can do this. We can do this! Protein must be a new AEW wrestler. Did you hear Dave Meltzer report that Sasha and Naomi contracts are expiring in a couple of months? I've seen people talking on Twitter that their contract's coming up, yes. I don't think Drew should be the guy, but I won't complain about it. Yeah, so we were just talking about Sasha and Naomi. I haven't heard anything. Apart from that tweet that went out Monday night by someone who claimed to know them, who said that, they'd spoke to Vince. Vince listened. They wanted to do the tag team stuff. They didn't want to have to go up against Bianca and Ronda. They wanted other women to be in the match instead. Basically creative, right? So if it is that we're talking about, I've not seen anything past that. We spoke quite a bit about it on Wednesday night. And I'll give you the summary. If it's anything to do with booking, my feelings are that they are a disgrace. They should be absolutely ashamed. And we went through it on Wednesday night, and absolutely my position won't have changed. The only way my position would change on it is if they turned around and said that something they were being asked to do was unsafe. Because I keep referencing Owen Hart, and I stand by it, because I think we would all love for Owen Hart to have turned around on that day in 1999 and said, I don't feel safe doing this. And if he'd have done that, he might still be with us now. So, that's one that, I would definitely listen to. And if it was one that was, had like a racist tone to it, or there was something that was really deeply making them uncomfortable, perhaps they were getting stripped down to their underwear, or maybe there was, some kind of a racist tone to the storyline, or a sexist tone to the storyline, or, like how Jeff Hardy, they used his alcohol problems. Now, I presume they checked with him it was all right to do that, and he said yes. But, I don't know that they checked with him first. So, maybe if Sasha had some, a drinking problem, and they wanted to use that in a storyline she didn't want to, I would definitely listen to that. These are things that I can definitely sympathize with. If you've got a struggle or a battle with an addiction of some kind and you don't want it to be in a storyline, I can totally understand that, and see where you're coming from. To my knowledge, it's nothing along those lines. If you feel unsafe, then I can understand that. But again, to my knowledge, it's nothing along those lines. If you feel unwell and you're just absolutely 100% not able to compete, but they're making you, I could understand that. But again, apps not along those lines. Was it racist? Was it sexist? Was it, anything? Nope. Nothing along those lines. If it is what's been reported, shame on them. And yeah, I'll stand by that till the cows come home. Anna, hello. You realise that Rampage is on? Yeah, it's rubbish though. It's House of Black against some Dark Order rubbish. So I had it on, but to be honest, I was more concerned about the fact I looked ill. I was more concerned about the fact I looked grey. But yeah, I've got it on in the background. As soon as we get to something that's actually like worth watching, significant, then we'll talk about it. But honestly, right now, it's not. It doesn't feel essential. But appreciate you checking in, because it's absolutely the kind of thing I would be missing. There we go. Mitchell, hello. Right, let's try and go down some of these comments. On Raw, I thought Rhea said she was being sick of being in tag teams, and then she's put in a faction. I know she's explained it on Raw, but it doesn't explain why she's in a tag team again. She's not really in a tag team, because there might be some mixed tag matches coming up, but she's very much the only woman in that group right now. So she can go off now on her own and have singles matches and all that kind of stuff. So I think it is different to leave a tag team and be going after those tag team belts to being the woman in a faction. You know, think about like Chyna in DX. You know, she was able to go off and achieve great things. And there's not many examples of women being in groups. I mean, I would say Nikki Cross, but she had singles matches, but she didn't really do anything. Like, women being in factions, there's not loads of examples in WWE history. So I think it's quite intriguing, but I don't mind it. I think if she was going to be in a tag team in Judgment Day, then I would be like, yeah, I can see your point. But I think they'll use her as a solo star going forward now, but she'll just represent Judgment Day. So I think that's all right. But, yeah, she'll undoubtedly be in some tag matches as they do some kind of big faction war or whatever. Moldy said, what if the way they were spoken to by Vince and Johnny and Bruce made them leave, not the booking? Apparently they were called entitled and spoilt. Well, they're lucky that I wasn't there, because I would have called them a lot worse. Let's put it that way. I think what they did, from what I understand, and I'm taking this from the tweet that person sent out. I'm not in the room, right? And their version of events might be different, okay? But they went in to see Vince, and apparently the meeting went well. But then it was producers that were screaming afterwards and flipping out afterwards. And I must admit, I can understand it, because if you're a writer, you know, if you think about WWE and you think about how big that machine is, right? So you think about how big WWE is. People have got to write a script, and you've got to put that show together, and it's got to go out at a certain time. At a certain time, you are live. So you've got to get the script written, and you've got to get it out to the talent. They need to know what they've got to do, and you need to be live, okay? Now, once you get to Monday, and maybe it's a fault in the system, but once you get to Monday and you've got that script and Vince has seen it and he's happy with it, which is, I would think the biggest problem on a Monday is to get Vince to okay the script. Because I would imagine we've heard so many times of rewrites and things being changed whilst the show is on, that, you know, if you've got that script and you've got it to Vince and Vince is happy with it, if you're a producer, that is job done then. That is job done, right? Again, for me, if I'm a producer, the only thing that I'm then going to be concerned about is if there's something that is distasteful or something that a talent has got a genuine concern over. To be honest, if it's anything else, they can go and speak to Vince. And if he makes the changes, well, that's on Vince, isn't it? If he doesn't, well, then that's that. I mean, you just cannot have every talent on a Monday questioning the script. You just can't have it. There won't be a show. There just will not be a show. You can't have a script getting written and then changed by Vince and then everyone that's on the show having to agree to it. Like, wrestlers have to do things they don't like doing. They have to. Like, and they have since the beginning of time. Like, when it's come to the scripted show, some people win, some people lose. If you lose, then, you know, you're not going to like it, but you get paid for it, right? This is the deal. Here's your contract. You get paid for it, right? Now, they've gone in and spoke to Vince, and apparently the meeting's gone well, but we don't have specifics. Producers, I'm sorry, I can understand the producers at that point freaking out because seemingly they've got the script, it's been okayed by Vince, and now they've got talent going wanting to change it. And these aren't little changes. These are changes where they want, you know, what they're asking for is big. They're not just asking for a tweak to a match. They want to change the whole future direction of the women's division. Like, they want the tag belts to feel special. Well, WWE doesn't want that. WWE has got no interest in those women's tag titles. And before people jump in and go, well, they should they? Because, like, those women's tag titles are literally just to give women some screen time. They've never been a major deal. They've never been a major focus. They are literally there just to get women that aren't in the main event picture scene, that just to get them on screen, that just to give them some screen time. And, you know, that's why you have so many teams that are thrown together. And WWE don't want to change that. They want the focus being on the Raw women's and the SmackDown women's. They are not interested in building women's tag teams. Right now, they don't want them, right? And they've got no plans in place or desire to bring them in. You know, think you could have some great proper women's tag teams, like women that actually team together as a tag team. You know, like how the Dudley Boys did, like how the Road Warriors did, yeah, like how the Steiner brothers did when they started out, or the Hardys, like proper women's tag teams. But you don't get that. You don't see them coming through because they just don't want them. There's not a hunger or a need or a desire for them. The closest we've probably got to like women's proper tag team might be like that Kaden and Casey down in NXT, who have been together for a little while. Outside of that, a lot of the teams have just been thrown together. So for Sasha and Naomi to now want to, in a way, demand that the tag titles are given more prestige, when that's not the focus of the company, is a big change. That's not something that's going to be quickly brought in. And so for me, like, they're asking for summer. I don't know how that meeting went. I don't know what Vince exactly said. I wasn't in the room. But if Vince said, look, no, or like, we'll see if we can make some changes, but I can't make any guarantees, or whatever it was that was said, they ended up leaving the first time with, you know, it was going all right. That's what that tweet said. The meeting with Vince went all right, okay? Now, if some producers went up to them afterwards and went, you're ruining all of this. Like, we've got these plans in place. Like, you know, you're throwing your toys out the pram. You're being spoiled here. Like, I've got no problem with the producer saying that. Because he's given an, like, honest feedback to them of, like, you're stepping out of line, right? But they've wanted to express their opinion, and they've gone and done that. Now, apparently, after that meeting with Vince, the changes weren't made to the extent that they wanted. And so they had another meeting with Vince, and that's when they got called spoiled, right? Now, I ain't got a problem with that. I have no issue with him calling them spoiled at all, because I think that their job is to perform the script they're given. Simple as that. Their job is to perform the script they're given. You get given a script, you go and perform it. And I think that if you want to voice an alternative opinion or something, I mean, if you go in and say, we don't want to do that, we want the tag titles to be more prestigious, they might have gone in with that. They might not have actually gone in with any actual alternative plans. And this was a point that Jim Cornette made. He's like, there's a way of going into Vince. If you go into Vince and you say, I don't want to do this, I want to do this, and give him a good detailed alternative, so that it cuts down on the work, because they haven't got to try and think about, like, okay, well, what else do we do? You give them the alternative. If you go in with that, then that can help sway his mind, because he appreciates the fact that you're not just saying, I don't want to do it. If you go in saying, I don't want to do that, that's, the answer's probably going to be you're going to do it, because they're not going to mess around. So we just don't know what was said in those meetings. But honestly, if they've pushed it to the point where they've been called spoiled, boo-hoo, deal with it. This is the real world. If I went to work and my boss said to me, I need you to do this, and I went, there's a different way I think that we can do it, but it involves doing such and such, and he went, no, just get and do it, right? At that point there, I've got a choice. I either do it, I've aired my grievance, and he shot it down, so I either do it, or I come back again a second time, which is what they did, and I say, no, I really think... Now, at that point, he's got every right to turn around and have a go at me, because I'm starting to become insubordinate. I'm starting to get to the point where I'm actively not doing what he's asked me. He's been very clear in his direction, and as a result, I've not done it. I've questioned it. He's listened to that and still stuck to his same path. If I go back a second time, in my mind, I've got to expect that he's going to... And someone like Vince as well. Do you know what I mean? Someone like Vince, who's not known for being soft and cuddly anyway, you've got to know that you're going to get that kind of a response. I just think this is the real world, man. I just really think this is the real world. And I think that if you're going to walk out because you got called spoiled, then just be thankful that you don't work for me, because I would have called them a hell of a lot worse. A hell of a lot worse. Because I think it's awful. I really do. We spoke at length about it the other day. I don't want to keep banging on about it. I feel like we spent too much time on it again already, but understandably so, because there's still nothing that's kind of as big as that. Right, Chris Statlander's making her way down. Mitchell said, do you think WWE will seriously finally give AJ and Finn a real shot at a new club? Your new colour change is a great addition to the Oompa Loompa. Do I think they'll give him a serious shot? Yeah, they'll give him a shot. I don't know how serious it will be. I mean, Liv Morgan's involved. That's no knock of Liv Morgan, but when I think Bullet Club, I mean, Liv Morgan is not a name that comes anywhere near my mind, so I don't know. I think if it was going to be serious, I'd want it to be something like AJ Finn and Shinsuke Nakamura, or, you'd want there to be like a Rhea Ripley in that group, like they've just put with Judgment Day. Like, Liv Morgan to me is... just a bit cute, a bit nice, a bit, always on the verge of crying when she's cutting promos. Like, I just don't know if she fits into Bullet Club. So, I mean, look, they've put Finn and AJ together, and that's pretty exciting. And then they've put, like, Liv Morgan with them so that she can get a bit of the shine. And we'll see how it plays out. I mean, I don't particularly have anything against Liv Morgan. I'm not down on her as much as others. But equally, I'm not as high on her as others as well. So I don't know. She's just not someone I would have put in that group, to be honest. Anna said, I've got many issues with the women's tag team bracket. There's no real teams, and this is the way to have women on the card. That's ridiculous. It makes the belts secondary. It undermines the value of the whole thing. Yeah, they don't care about them. They never really have. I think those belts, the way that I look at them is they are literally there just to get women onto the show. So we've spoke about this before. You could have like a women's intercontinental belt, right? But the problem by doing that is that you would only ever have 2 women on the show fighting for it. I suppose you could always do like a fatal 4-way. You could do a 6-pack challenge, but you're not going to do that every single time. Chances are you're just going to have 2 women going up against each other. And that gets you 2 extra women on the show, basically. You know, Steph has spoke before about wanting to try and make the shows 50% guys, 50% girls. I think part of the problem is they are looking and struggling a little bit, or have struggled a little bit, to find good women that can take up 50% of the show, right? And I think they're out there. I think you can find them, but for one reason or another, like, just it hasn't worked out with you know, certain women. I feel like someone like Ruby Soho could have been given more of a chance. You know, I think someone like Ember Moon could have been given more of a chance. I think there's definitely Mia Yim could have been obviously given more of a chance. I think there's definitely women that have been released that could have been given more of a chance, but I have to say the same for guys as well. I think there's guys that have been released that could have been given more of a chance as well. So what they're trying to do is, rather than introduce a secondary title that just allows them to have 2 women on screen, they've introduced a secondary title, which are the tag titles, that allows them to have 4 women. And as we said before, this is why you're seeing a lot of women being put in tag teams that are single stars, like Natalya and Shayna, Shayna and Nia, Rhea and Liv, Sasha and Naomi. Before that was Sasha and Bayley. Like, you know, they're just chucking women together to make up these teams that don't mean anything. They ain't going to stick around for very long. And that's it. I mean, that's it. And that is what the women's tag team titles are. I mean, I can tell you that from watching it since it came in. And I'm sure you can say the same as well. Where are the proper women's tag teams? Where are the women's tag teams that are, you know, down in NXT, working week in, week out as a tag team, that then come up as a tag team and actually, you know, work as a tag team? The truth of the matter is that it's there to get women on the show. Vince does not care about tag team wrestling. And it doesn't matter if you're a woman. It doesn't matter if you're a man. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Vince don't care about tag team wrestling. But the reason they went with the tag team belts is so they can get more women on the show. So Sasha and Naomi trying to change that is completely out of line with what WWE want to do, and out of line with what Vince wants to do. You know, I don't understand what they're trying to achieve. They're trying to make these tag belts more meaningful, but they're not, and they're not going to, because the long-term booking won't be there. They could maybe get a more meaningful feud for themselves next. You know, maybe they could change that. Maybe they could make sure their, you know, next couple of months not them putting over Ronda and putting over Bianca, and instead it's them defending the tag titles. They could definitely change that. But that is just, you know, them changing one feud. They're not going to change the future direction of the women's tag team titles, because Vince doesn't care about them and WWE doesn't care about them. And, you know, as you made an excellent point there, you know, where are the real teams? Where are the real team? If the real teams were there and they'd put that work in before, you're absolutely right. Then we could do something with that women's tag division. If the real teams were there, or there was like, you know, women where long term you could keep them as a team, then we could do something. But the truth of the matter is, how long do you think they're going to keep Sasha and Naomi together? That is not a long term team. They might be loving life right now, but that is just, I'm sorry to say, a short-term option, whilst neither were champions. Neither are around the title picture, although ironically they were about to be. And whilst they were just on that back burner, they found something for them to do. They didn't leave them in catering. They didn't say, sorry, we haven't got any creative for you. What they did is they put them in a tag team, and they put the tag titles on them, and they were getting over, and they were selling some merch, and it was getting them onto the show. And, you know, things were going, well, all right. I mean, as good as what you can hope for when you're sort of on the back burner. And, but they wanted more. And that's fine. It's fine to want more. It's fine to go to Vince and say, I want more than this. That's fine. It's fine to have that conversation. But if you've had that conversation and things don't get changed in your way, don't go your way, once you go back, you are opening yourself up to, being called spoiled and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just not surprised that that's what happened. I'm just really, really not surprised that's the conversation they had. It's not their job. It's not their job. That's not what they're paid to do. They are not paid to create storylines. If they want to do that, then go to creative. Go to creative. If you want to create storylines, then go to creative. As a superstar, your job is to act out the script. That's what you are paid to do. You get given the script, you perform the script. Right? Now, I understand that you can always go to Vince if you got some concerns, but the bottom line is you get paid, and in Sasha's case in particular, very well, to perform whatever script you get given. And we have to say, she gets treated quite well. I mean, she's, in the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match. She was, main event of WrestleMania 37 with Bianca Belair. She's the current women's tag champ. They want a couple of really good, credible opponents for Ronda and for Bianca. They want some really good, credible opponents. And they turned and said, well, let's get Naomi and Sasha. They're good. They're credible. But they don't see it as that. They don't see it as them using their credibility, their fan bases, to help Bianca and help Ronda. Instead, they selfishly want to focus on themselves and focus on these tag titles rather than doing what the company feels that they need to do. They basically refuse to do what the company felt it needed. And it's simple as that. And if you're part of a team, to refuse to work in that team, I mean, it's literally the same as if this was football. A football player was told, right, I need you to play it right back when, normally their best position is in midfield, but I need you to play it right back. Imagine Klopp saying to Milner, we've got an injury to Alexander-Arnold, I need you to play it right back. And Milner going, that's not where I play, though, and I don't want to play there because I am better in midfield. And Klopp goes, I understand, but whilst we've got this injury, I've got no choice. You've got to play there. I've got no other option, right? End of meeting. And then for Milner to go back again going, no, I don't think you understand. I need to be in midfield. I mean, at that point, I can understand Klopp having a go. I can understand him losing his cool. And then once that happens, James Milner just walks out of Anfield and walks out. I mean, I don't know how disappointing that would be for the Liverpool fans. But in my mind, that's very comparable to what Sasha and Naomi did. Did I see another one there? Let's have a look. Mitchell said, seriously, why do you think WWE devalued their championships? Other than whatever Roman is holding, no other title feels important. I think they genuinely want the world titles to feel important. You've got to remember that back in the day, back in the 90s, there was one title that mattered, and that was the WWE title. Then below that, you had the Intercontinental, and that was really the person that was going to be the next big thing, or someone that was really coming through. You think of the greats that held that Intercontinental in the 90s. You've got Brett, you've got Shawn, you've got The Rock, you've got, Jericho held it multiple times. Don't know if it was the 90s. It might have been 2000s, but, greats were holding onto that belt. People that they thought were, workhorses, going to be the next big things. Mr. Perfect, just British Bulldog at SummerSlam 92. Great names. And so, but you only had one champion on top. And then you had your tag belts, right? So if you think about it, there was three titles in the 90s. Early, when I was growing up watching wrestling, you had your three champions, and all three were really important, right? How many belts have you got now? You can't make all these belts feel important. You can't do it. You just can't do it. You can't make all these titles. They've got two world champions right? One is WWE, the other is Universal. I understand that. I understand why you have the two. We've spoke a lot this year about should they unify it and whatnot. I don't think they should, but I can understand why they've got the two. Then you've got two women's champions. I mean, throughout a lot of the 90s, we didn't have a women's champion. But one did pop in every now and again. So we were lucky if we could have one. But right now, we've got two. Then we've got not only the Intercontinental, but since then we've added the United States. United States Championship was in WCW. It wasn't in WWE. So we've added a mid-card belt as well. Now we've got two sets of tag team champions. We've added women's tag team champions. You've got the 24/7 champion running around. There's too many belts. Too many belts. If you compare it to we've got double the belts now than what we had when we were in the 90s. And trying to make all of these belts feel important, you just ain't going to do it. You're just not going to do it. I mean, I don't know how a Raw roster would compare to an early 90s roster, if it's the same size or not. I don't know how a SmackDown roster compares to an early 90s roster, if it's the same size or not. But I know that you're only going to have so much time. You're only going to have so much build. Because ratings are so important these days, because of the way that wrestling is paid, you have to really hotshot titles too much. I mean, we've spoke before about how many title matches you see. We see way too many. Way too many. Title matches should be once in a blue moon, and they should be built up, and when you get them, it should undeniably be the main event. You know, if you want the Intercontinental to feel special, don't put it on in the middle of the show, right? But the reason they do this is because they want to find a way of getting you to watch hour one and go into hour two, and they try to do little tricks like that because it helps the TV ratings. As TV ratings has become more important, the titles have become less important, because what you get now are more title matches, which overexposes them. It also means that the build towards them is minimized and you don't get as much of a build. And it also means that, you know, they won't put it on as the main event because they need to find a way of getting you to go from hour one to hour two, from hour two to hour three. And, you know, sometimes you even find shows that have got a few title matches on. Might even be some wrestling shows that have got a couple. You know, honestly, we've got tag team unification match tonight. I forgot about it. If I'm being honest, I forgot. I completely forgot that it was tonight. And that has had a really good build. But there's just so many title matches that it's just like one in a million. I mean, honestly, if you miss this, there'll be another one next week. There'll be another one the week after. I think, was it Alex that had a look and saw that there was like 250 title matches last year or something? It was something along those lines. About 250 title matches last year. There's only 50-odd weeks in a year. I mean, like, there's only 50-odd weeks. I mean, the amount of title matches are just stunning. Now, I know a lot of that might play out on the pay-per-views and whatnot, but god damn, man. It's all overexposed. The whole thing is overexposed. What is interesting about Sasha and Naomi walking out is it's kind of thrown up all of this for conversation. Like, I know I keep saying I don't want to keep talking about it because my opinion of it won't change. Because, you know, what it comes down to at its core is you are paid to perform the script. Anything that you do outside of that by questioning creative is not your remit. And, you know, to walk out over that as well, I think is appalling. As I've said before, if every wrestler did that, if every wrestler walked out, there would be no wrestling. If every wrestler walked out, if they were asked to do something they didn't like, there would be no wrestling. Because for every winner, there has to be a loser. And no one wants to lose. No one wants to be the jobber. No one wants to lose. No one wants to be the jobber. And the funny thing here is that one of them was meant to win the main event, and both of them were going to go into title matches, and that wasn't good enough because it wasn't the story that they wanted to tell. Well, we saw what happened when wrestlers get a chance to book their stories with WCW, and it was a car crash. And it doesn't work, because if you give Sasha and Naomi creative freedom to do what they want to do, all they're doing is taking away from other superstars. If one superstar gets a chance to do the booking, that means the other people have to fall in line. Everyone else in the locker room has to listen to them then, don't they? Because as we've just said, you know, if the tag division is going to become a much more important thing because Sasha and Naomi want it to be, well, all of a sudden, women now are going to find themselves being in tag teams a lot longer, competing for belts that they might not care about. And then you'll have problems with different people because they don't want to be in a tag division. They wanted to go after the singles belts. It's just, it won't end. It just wouldn't end. Like, this is like one of those, when you pick at this thread, the whole thing's going to unravel. The whole thing's going to unravel, which is why, as I said, I've got no problem with them speaking out and having their say because, you know, it shouldn't be just you do this, blah, blah, blah. You know, you want that feedback. But there comes a point, there comes a line where, you know, you've had your answer, you know, and that's your answer. And I think if you're going to keep pushing beyond that point, I can understand frustration coming in. So, there is a good video on YouTube where Diesel explains how hard the booking process is. It is hard. I've got so much sympathy for them because I just think that a lot of people think that it's really easy, but it's not going to be, because you're always going to have, first of all, you've got to write interesting stories that really grab people's attention. I would say that on its own is really difficult. That's what the majority of fans focus on is, well, let's do this story because that will lead to that, and that ties into that, and it's all pretty and it's all great, right? That's fantasy booking, and I'm all for it, but there's so many factors. Like, you're going to have people fall sick. You're going to have people that miss their planes. You're going to have people that, you know, are going to refuse to do it. Like, well, I mean, imagine you wrote that story. Imagine you wrote Raw and you have got the next 2 months planned out. You know exactly what you want to do. You want to get Ronda with Sasha. You want to get Naomi with Becky. You're loving those matches. You've got plans for those matches. You know what you want to do with the tag titles. You're going to park them. But once they've, you know, lost, they'll come together. And, you know, then they'll, you know, be dominant again. And they'll realize they're, you know, a great unit. And how they miss working together, and, you know, you've got it all planned out. And then, like, you get to the show, and then the talent turns around and says they don't want to do it because they want to do something different. So what? Sorry? Like, you know, I didn't spend, like, all week writing this so that it can get ripped up a few hours before the show starts. I mean, that would do, and not only that, Vince does it as well. Vince rips it up. So, like, yeah, you'd have to get it past Vince. Even if you write an amazing story, you could give it to Vince and he could not like it and tell you to do it again or change this or do this instead. Or what if you've got an amazing idea, it gets shot down, and then they're like, no, I don't like that idea, right? So think of your best idea. Right, no, we can't do it. What else you got? Okay, well, we could do that. No, what else you got? Imagine facing that about 5 times and having to go from plan A to plan B to plan C to plan D. Like, by the time the script's approved, you might be on plan F. So if you've got an amazing storyline, well done. I hope you've got about 20 lined up, because there's a real good chance those first ones are getting shot down by someone. And now all of a sudden, the talent are shooting them down. Now, all of a sudden, not only have you got to write an amazing story, get it past the creative room and all your colleagues that, you know, are writing with you, but you've then got to get it past Vince. Then you've got to get the talent to accept it. Then you've got the problem of people missing planes, falling sick, plans having to be changed like that as a result. The network might not like something, so you might have to tweak something along those lines. Vince might have woke up at 3 a.m. with a bright idea that just, you know, that thing we're doing, let's do this instead. And all of a sudden, you're going down a path you haven't even thought about. I'd imagine if you work in creative, you have got to think on your feet, man. You've got to think on your feet so quickly. I feel for creative. I really do. I don't think that they are just in a room loving life. I should imagine it's a horrific place to work. Because trying to think of like 20 like match ideas and 20 different ways forwards, and then having different ones being shot down by various different directions. I can understand why they're probably all having breakdowns. The reason that Sasha and Naomi didn't want to do it is because they wanted to give other women a chance at the titles. If you read what Sat put out, they wanted to have a title match with Niven and Cross. Yeah, but that's not the plan, is it? That's not what WWE want to do. That's not what WWE want to do. And to be honest, right? If Bianca and Sasha, no, hang on. If Naomi and Sasha aren't going to be the ones to face Ronda and face Bianca, who is? Who are these replacements? What, Shotzi and Rhea or something? Okay, well, neither of them are as big as Sasha Banks, are they? Neither of them are as big as Sasha Banks. So Sasha brings this massive star power. She's in The Mandalorian. She gets paid a ton of money. They want to use her fame, her appeal, her, fan base. They want to use all of that to work with Ronda and, give Ronda another red-hot feud. They don't want Ronda going up against just someone. They wanted Sasha. And I can understand why they wanted Sasha. Because Sasha is, a massive star. So for Sasha to turn around and go, nah, give it someone else, well, that's not her decision. She doesn't work in creative. That's not what she is paid to do. She doesn't work in creative. She can go and say to Vince, I would rather do the tag thing, and I think someone else should have that opportunity. But if Vince turns around and says, no, I want your star power, right? That's where that dies. That's where that ends. And pushing it beyond that point is where you are going to get frustration. Because I would imagine, as I've just said, producers, backstage personnel, creative, I would imagine a lot of people are constantly on the edge. I would imagine a lot of people are on the edge because it's a very tense, stressful job because it's live TV. There's a ton of moving parts. You've got Vince McMahon that's changing his mind every hour. And to actually get a product onto the screen is really difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult. And to actually do that, not just once a week, but twice a week for Raw and SmackDown, I would imagine that, all that travel, all that commuting, just being on the road that much wears you down. But constantly, we've heard stories of Vince calling up people at like 3 a.m. and all this kind of stuff. I would imagine a lot of them producers, a lot of that creative team are just stressed and are at breaking point and are just, it takes it all out of you. I just don't think there's going to be much patience. Maybe there should be more. But I can understand there not being much. And Sasha and Naomi wanted to do their thing, spinning it as but they wanted to give other women a chance. It's not their job. That's not what they're paid to do. I saw someone on Twitter that made that point, and they were like, they just wanted other women to get an opportunity. Like, help make this make sense for me. Someone said this. Like, I can't understand. How are they unprofessional? They just wanted other women to have a shot at the main titles so they could carry on doing the tag things. The answer to that is, it's not their job. It's not their decision. They do as they're told. Here is the script. That's the whole point in having a creative team and having a script. What is planned for you is written down. Here is the script. Now, you either perform it or you refuse to perform it. And if you refuse to perform it, well, then we're going to talk fines, we're going to talk suspensions, because you are paid to perform that script. That is your job. And that is the way that wrestling has been. Now, as you get more power, as you climb the ladder and you get more say, then yes, in history we've seen tons of times where wrestlers have gone in, spoke to Vince and had things change. We have no idea how often that happens. No, I would imagine every show, to be honest. I would imagine every show all the time those conversations are happening. But this time, these two got an answer that they didn't like, or things didn't change like what they wanted, and they've decided to walk out. This might not be in the first time. This could have been just the straw that broke the camel's back. They might have had meetings hundreds of times. They might have had hundreds of meetings. And they might have got frustrated, and this might be the one that broke the camel's back. This might be the straw that broke the camel's back, right? So, to me, this looks petty. It looks like they've completely lost sight of what they're there to do. They're part of a team. Their part of the team is to perform the script. And for them to just walk out is petty. And I think it is spoiled. I think they are spoiled. I think they've got themselves into a mindset where they are these massive superstars, and who have WWE to tell them what they're going to do? But Sasha wouldn't be where she is without this WWE machine. She wouldn't have this fan base. She wouldn't be where she is now if she didn't have like all the moments that WWE had given her. She didn't kick back against them moments, did she? She didn't kick back or have problems when they were putting the belt on her. There was no issue then. Well, there was no problems then when she was being made champion. But now with this, obviously she doesn't like it because it's not what she wants to do. And people applaud this. People on Twitter, mainly the Sasha stans. Mainly Sasha stans, or people that are anti-WWE and anti-Vince, right? You see a lot of it online, people applauding this, like standing up for their themselves type situation. I just think that, and I said it the other day, if you agree with what Sasha and Naomi did, then I can't see where you're coming from, because WWE were wrong, 100% wrong to not honor the contracts of those people that they let go. They were wrong. And I've said it time and time again. They were wrong to not honor those contracts. And, they let Bray go whilst he was under contract. That was wrong. They let Braun go whilst he was under contract. That was wrong. They let hundreds of wrestlers go whilst they were under contract. And it was wrong. Because if you've got a contract, you honor that contract. That is an agreement. We agree to pay you X amount of money for X amount of years, and all we ask is that you perform the scripts we give you. Basically, that's the agreement, right? And WWE broke that agreement, and they broke it hundreds of times last year with different people. But if you was upset about that, you have to be upset with Sasha and Naomi. They've done the exact same thing, where we criticize WWE for firing people that were under contract. You have to criticize Sasha and Naomi for walking out whilst being under contract. They have not honored their contract. Just as WWE last year didn't honor the contracts, Sasha and Naomi haven't honored their contract. They're still under contract. And they were advertised for the show, and there was fans there that undoubtedly came to see them, because Sasha in particular is a massive star. And what with her being in The Mandalorian and everything, I've got no doubt in my mind that there was people in that crowd that specifically came to see Sasha. She walked out on them. She walked out on her fans. She walked out on the fans. They decided they would rather walk out and not perform for those fans than do the script that they were being given. I think that's appalling. I just cannot get my head around why anyone would support that. And as I've said before, if other wrestlers do it, there will be no pro wrestling. There won't be a pro wrestling. Anyone that's going to lose on SmackDown tonight ain't going to be thrilled about it. And when they get that script, imagine if all of them walked out. Imagine everyone that's going to lose tonight, if they walked out, they got given the script, saw they were losing, and they were like, no, and they went. Right, and they did a Sasha and Naomi. You tell me where pro wrestling would be. Be dead. It'd be dead. People have to do things they don't really want to do in pro wrestling in order for this to work. There has to be jobbers. It's a role. It's an important role. There has to be people that put others over to make them look good. And sometimes stories ain't going to go your way. And, I would imagine every wrestler thinks they can book better. I mean, we all watch WWE. We all think we can book better than Vince, and there's tons of stuff I would have done that WWE hasn't. You know, it's loads of stuff, but it's not our jobs. We don't get paid to do that. We don't have the authority to do that, and neither does Sasha and Naomi. New Day coming out of a cereal box was probably plan F. I don't know, man. There's loads of things that have gone on that you can just tell are not really the, you know... Take Alexa, for example. No way do I believe that week after week of those vignettes led to no change. No, I don't believe that. I believe those vignettes were leading to the Alexa that we have now. The Alexa that we have now is changed. She's changed. I mean, I think we can all see that. But if you remember, they did the week after week of vignettes, and what we got was the old Alexa on a swing in Elimination Chamber at Saudi Arabia. Like, no way is that what was planned. No way. You wouldn't do that. There is no point in doing a whole series of week after week after week of vignettes of Alexa having therapy and, like, losing her reliance on Lily, yeah, week after week, and then all of a sudden you get to the Saudi Arabia show and she comes out like everything is the same and nothing has changed, and she's sat on a swing inside Elimination Chamber. Like, do you know why that doesn't make sense? Because of what we've been talking about, because of the rewrites. I reckon that Saudi Arabia, you know, they probably expressed an interest in Lily and Alexa, or they made a comment, or, you know, in conversation, oh, my son's a big fan of Lily, or whatever it is. And WWE probably realized, well, we can't change her now. We can't change her for that show. That show's too important. Let's keep her the same for that show, and we'll have to change her, like, further down the road and do some further down the road. You know, things like that. I mean, like, you heard the same stories I did. The Saudi royal family, or whoever it is that's paying for these Saudi shows, they said, we want Yokozuna, we want Ultimate Warrior. Like, they were telling Vince what stars they wanted to see. Now, both of them are dead, but it gives you an idea of some of the conversations that are happening backstage. And if they wanted certain superstars, that explains why certain legends have been used on those shows, because it might be that the royal family, Saudi royal family, wanted to see them. And so, as a result, that's why the legends have been there. It might have nothing to do with Vince thinking it's a good idea. It might have nothing to do with creative, you know, trying to find something for the legends. It might be everything to do with the Saudi royal family. Like, there are so many factors at play behind the scenes that I think if you don't really stop and, like, think about it, like, what kind of pressure that creative department is under, it's easy to think that, well, they've just got it easy, haven't they? They've just got it easy. Honestly, I think it's far from easy. I think being in creative must be an absolute nightmare. Man United Hodge says there should be repercussions for them to show others it's unacceptable and won't be tolerated. I agree. I completely agree. You cannot afford, we cannot afford as fans either, to have other wrestlers doing the same. I think that, for me, my sympathy, and I have to say this because we haven't heard their side, and if they were to say that they were unwell and they said they weren't well, right, then, and they were worried that they was going to be sick or they just couldn't do the job but they were being forced to do it, I would have sympathy then. Like, that to me is nothing to do with creative, so I would have sympathy. And as I said before, if it was something that was unsafe, I would have sympathy. But all the reports are that they wanted to tell different stories. And as we've just spent way too long saying, if everyone tries to tell different stories on that roster, you're going to end up in a right mess. You're going to end up in a right mess. So I completely agree. Right, we've got the start of the show. Do you think that Vince or whoever is in charge in the future will try to lure someone away from AEW? I don't know. If they, I don't know if they'll try and lure them away because, again, contracts are important. And, you know, someone like MJF is under contract till 2024. So I don't know if they'll try and lure them, but as contracts are coming up, if they feel there's a chance they might be able to get them, you might have, you know, some conversations being had. Someone like MJF, I would imagine, would speak to WWE just to see what they were offering as he's getting towards the end of his contract. And I'd imagine a lot of the big talents would do that. Maybe some of the mid-card, smaller talents would look to do that as well. Go and speak to WWE and see how much they're offering. But they can't go. They can't just go to AEW and go, do you want to work for us? Because they're all going to be tied down under contracts. And guess what? Contracts are important. Or at least they should be. And that works both ways. That works both ways. I am quite happy to sit here and not just say that what Sasha and Naomi did was wrong, but say what WWE did was wrong as well. Why we can't just honor contracts is beyond me. Right, here we go. Smackdown has begun. I had half an eye on Rampage, and nothing was really grabbing me. To be honest, I think they're probably making Rampage a little bit skippable at the moment because the ratings have been awful. 2 weeks ago, it was 200 and some thousand. Last week, it was 300 some thousand. The moving around of Rampage has really disrupted their views. So I would imagine they're probably just trying to get through this period. Right, we're talking about RK Bro and Usos. Let's have a look, shall we? Close on our poll. RK Bro, 53%. Usos, 47%. And we're starting with Roman, I believe. Is Roman coming out? Big cheer, and yeah, it is. It's Roman. Roman opening the show. Right. The big dog, the tribal chief, God mode. Starting off this week's SmackDown. I think Sasha would be as big as her cousin is Snoop Dogg. Would be as big. Her cousin is Snoop Dogg. I don't know what you mean. Jilly said, I hope WWE does get MJF and he becomes another Miz. It'll be poetic justice for both MJF and WWE. You missed a great show. If you weren't ranting about Sasha, you would have enjoyed it, said Almighty Nick. I don't know. None of the matches seemed like that essential. I thought Dynamite was pretty good. Maybe. Who knows? Did you hear the rumors? The next 3 opponents will be Riddle, Orton, and Drew for Roman, said Blaze Radio. I did hear that. Yes. I sort of makes sense, really, because it feels like they're working through that team. You know, they're in a feud with them. They're obviously, you know, this feud between the Usos and RK Bro has been running for a little while. Doesn't look like it's going to end even after tonight. Lots of thoughts of these two teams facing at Hell in a Cell. But, yeah, I would say it probably makes sense for them to, you know, for him to face Riddle, then face Randy, and then face Drew. I've got to admit, I mean, I think him against Randy is a match I really want to see. Him against Randy. Randy's in a great place right now. Roman versus Randy. A face Randy against a heel Roman, I think is very, very tasty. People believe they should be able to walk away from their job if they're mistreated. Unfortunately, it's the modern world. Well, if they have walked away because they feel that they've been mistreated, then that's a decision that they've made. But that is also something that I believe they brought on themselves. From what I don't feel like they have been. I don't feel like Sasha and Naomi turned up to work and just got shouted at, right? The reason they feel mistreated is because they were pushing to get something changed and it didn't go their way. And as a result, they've, you know, run into being called spoiled and all this kind of stuff, which, to be honest, from what I've read from that guy that sent that tweet out, it came across as they were being spoiled to me. To me, it came across like they were feeling entitled and spoiled and, you know, trying to change the direction of a story that they've got no right in trying to change. They've got every right to have their say. I've got no problem whatsoever with a wrestler going to Vince saying, look, is there any chance we can change this? I'd much rather do this instead, and seeing what he says, right? But according to that tweet, they ended up going to Vince twice. You know, they went to him once, meeting went well. Clearly, they'd never got the changes they were hoping for after that meeting, or the changes they were expecting to happen. They've gone back to him again. And that second time, I think once you knock on that door the second time, you are then starting to become a bit of a pest. The amount of stuff that Vince has got to deal with, like, he'll listen to you and, you know, see what he can do. And that tweet said that he was very, you know, he was all ears, he was listening. But they went back to him again. And at that point, you know, time is ticking down. Time is ticking down. It's all time sensitive. I would imagine it's a bit of a pressure cooker backstage. They've walked into that fire. If they've been mistreated, in my eyes, mistreated, I mean, they got spoken to maybe a bit harshly. You know, this is the modern world. This is the real world as well. This is business. This is the business world. This is a multi-billion-dollar business. I mean, if you're going to walk out over that, then you're better out of it, to be honest. If you're going to walk out over that, then you're better out of it. There we go. Roman finally saying, acknowledge me. Do you think Sasha's actions prove why Vince cherry picks on who he wants to push as stars? Because once they become big, they start thinking they have this power. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I think he's been burnt a lot in the past. Maybe not so much by John Cena, but certainly by the likes of Steve Austin, who walked out. Let's not forget, this is not just Sasha and Naomi. I'm disappointed in them, right? I'm annoyed at them. But Stone Cold did the exact same thing towards the end of his time. He refused to lose on, I think it was SmackDown, to Brock. And he walked out. So, you know, Vince got burnt there. He got burnt by the Ultimate Warrior. I'd imagine he, you know, had plenty of conversations with Hulk Hogan. We know he got burnt multiple times with Shawn Michaels. So, yeah, I think he does cherry pick people looking at their character as well, yes. Does he get burnt by Roman? I don't know. How difficult is Roman? I don't know. I can't say I've heard too many stories of Roman being a nightmare to work with, to be honest. You can take your Hulk Hogans. You can take your Stone Colds. You can take your Brock Lesnars. You can take your John Cenas. Stack them up. And Roman's like, stack them up. They would be stacked and smashed. I love the smug look on Roman's face. Jaden said, I'm going to be 21 on Sunday. Happy birthday, Jaden. Hope you have a great Sunday. Each and every night of his life, Roman defends the position of being head of the table, of being tribal chief. I like that. Paul Heyman says, what do the Usos have to do to be the greatest tag team of all time? I love this story. I love this story. I tell you what, Paul Heyman there has said, Roman's the greatest, but what's it going to take for the Usos to be the greatest tag team? And what I love about it is he didn't just then go into saying they've got to unify the belts, that will do it, right? He said, I say it with some nervousness, and he actually put over the Wild Samoans when he didn't need to do that. And that is not something I think Vince would have requested. I think that has come from Paul. That might have come from, even the Usos themselves and Roman and whatever, that they put over the Wild Samoans. Wild Samoans, absolutely one of the greatest tag teams of all time. So influential, kind of that pre-WrestleMania WWE, like they were on the road. We've seen them. They've come out when Roman was kind of first starting his tribal chief. Wasn't it Roman against Jey Uso in like Hell in a Cell or something? Roman won, and as he went up the entrance ramp, Afa and Sika were there, and I think they put the that thing around, whatever it is, the ceremonial thing. They put that around him. That was Afa and Sika. And I really like how Paul Heyman was just took a moment there to put over the Wild Samoans, just remind people of that heritage. That resonated with me. Might not have resonated with everyone. I think to put over people that were around before WrestleMania is really cool. It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. I was waiting to see if RK Bro were going to come out. Heyman's finished speaking. Roman wants the microphone, and Heyman's a bit surprised he wants the microphone. He hands it over to him. Usos. You know what I want, and I expect you to deliver. I've got these expectations because I love you, and they embrace in the ring. Roman giving the Usos a hug. Usos are seemingly getting a bit pumped up from that. Hearing that Roman loves them. They were like really focused. Roman with a little smile on his face as he was giving them a hug. Not bad. Didn't really say a great deal. Set the scene though. I think if you haven't been watching this story, you know that what's happening later tonight. You know why they're doing it. You know that it matters. So, it's kind of set the scene. Look, we got Sammy backstage. Sammy was watching it all unfold on a TV. He's got his Bloodline shirt on. Sammy is pumped up. Sammy is facing Shinsuke Nakamura tonight. We've got, in fact, he's facing him right now. We've got Butch against Xavier Woods on this show as well. Those are the three matches that I've seen announced. Nakamura versus Sammy. Should be fun, this. These two had killer match down in NXT. And the first match of the evening, hopefully it means it gets some time. Roman doesn't care about them at all. Versus MMA. Shout out to you. Hayden says Nakamura. Nakamura making his way down. Jeremy said they need to let Sammy in the group. Sort of like him being around and them just sort of like not even knowing that he's there. Like, if Sammy has so far only really been talking to Paul Heyman, he hasn't spoken to Roman direct. Well, I think he might have spoke to him once at the very start. But since then, he's been talking to Paul Heyman. So I don't even know if Roman's aware that Sammy's running around in a Bloodline shirt thinking that he's good friends with him. I've got a feeling there could be a moment where Sammy bumps into Roman, sees Roman, and he's like, are you pleased with everything that I've done for you? And Roman could be like, who are you? Sammy, I've spoke to you once. I don't know who you are. It could be something like that, and that could break Sammy's heart. So I can't quite tell where they're going with the storyline on it, but it's interesting. Do you think we could see Cena back in a few weeks, as he's teased the return as his 20-year anniversary is around the corner? Do I think Cena will come back in a few weeks? Maybe. Yeah, if it's his 20 years, I mean, sometimes they can do... There's a few different things they can do. First of all, they could do a little nod to him, you know, him not actually be on the show. But they could show little clips of, you know, we want to give a big shout out to John Cena, 20 years. Didn't they do that with Batista the other day? Do you remember they did it for Batista? 20 years, he'd been a superstar, and they showed a few clips and whatnot, but he wasn't on the show. So they could go that way. Or, yes, they could reach out and bring him in and have him, like, do some... But chances are probably not, because I'm guessing he's filming or doing something. So maybe he'll record a quick little, you know, video thing. Could be something like that. I think he will come back, though, at some point this year and do a match and something. Who or what, I don't know. I would have him face Gunther. It wouldn't be Roman, because they've done that last year. So it wouldn't be Roman. I think Cody could be fun. You know, Cody is trying to become the champion. And I think what better way of showing that you are ready to be the champion, to carry the weight of the company, than by beating someone that used to do that, used to be the man. I mean, he's not really the man now. The man now is Roman. But Cena was undeniably the guy for a long, long period of time. So you could always have Cody call out John Cena, say that if he's going to be WWE champion, he wants to know that he is rightful, like the rightful champion, and he wants to know where he is against someone that he's always graded himself against. And when he was in WWE as dashing Cody Rhodes, the guy on top was on top for a long time. And when he was Stardust, the guy on top was on top for a long time, and that guy is John Cena. And, you know, you could do it in a respectful way. So there's no heel. It's face versus face. Face versus face, Cody versus Cena. Cody doing it because he wants to become champion. He wants to show that he's changed. He's not Stardust. He's ready to, you know, take on the biggest names around. And what better way of getting ready for a potential match with Roman than by facing the guy that dominated WWE for decades? And that would be John Cena. So you could tell that story. I'd probably prefer the Gunther story, to be honest. I'd probably go the Gunther way. But, yeah, I think he'll come back. Maybe SummerSlam. But I can't say he'll be back in a couple of weeks for his 20th anniversary thing. It really depends on his filming schedule, doesn't it? Cody going over Cena could be good. Is Days going to Clash of Castle? No. No, we're going to do the watch-along for it. So, you know, if I was there, I wouldn't be able to do the watch-along. I must admit, I'm not too worried about, like, going. I wasn't, like, crazy about going. It wasn't like, oh my god, I need to be there. It's going to be great. If you've got tickets, you're going to have an amazing time. And, you know, I've had loads of people getting in touch saying I picked up my tickets and everything. I'm really pleased for everyone that's going. I think it's going to be awesome. But for me personally, I just really enjoy this. Talking with you guys and watching it with you guys. Like, I genuinely do. And if I was sat there watching it, I'd really miss this. So, I suppose it's just... Maybe I'd definitely have gone if we didn't have these streams. 100% I would have gone. But no, I'd much rather spend time with you guys. Keeping it real. Any guess as to who Ronda is going to feud with now, says Darcy? No idea, no. No idea. I don't know. I mean, I don't know when Bayley's back. Legit, I don't even know who's on the roster now. I mean, Charlotte's gone. So, you know, that feud can't continue. A chance, or maybe they go with Natalya as a stopgap, or I don't know. I don't know if they quite know at the moment. Obviously, they had to make a very quick decision as to who was going to have to be facing Bianca. And thankfully, Asuka's just come back. So, but she was, you know, she could have been planned to have been in a match with Becky. So, you know, Asuka-Becky might have been the plan, which has now had to change. So, where we were going to get Asuka and Becky, we now don't. And now we get Asuka, Bianca Belair instead. What that means for Becky, I don't know. So, who faces Becky now? I don't know. Who faces Ronda? I don't know. Who do you think is going to win the tag team unification? I've always been siding with the Usos. I understand that there was a spoiler that was potentially sent out from WWE UK. They actually put a post out of one of the teams with both the belts saying who is going to stop these guys. Hopefully, is that going to fix? Boom, should be back. Little bit of lag there. Oh, I say a little bit of lag. I didn't even see it, but we did get some lag. But hopefully it's back now. I changed over the router. One of the routers just completely lost its internet, which is pretty wild. Nice strikes by Nakamura. Yeah, so one of the... my pick would be the Usos. I know one of the teams was being advertised as winning on WWE UK's social media, but I don't know how much they know in advance. I really don't know. I don't know how much they know in advance as to who's actually going to be winning. So, kick by Sammy. So, that could just be a graphic they had ready. And, you know, one of them got sent out. So, I wouldn't read too much into it. But I quite fancy the Usos to do it because they ain't going to break the Usos up. But I do think there's a chance they break up RK Bro. Nakamura goes over to the corner. Back elbow by Nakamura. Nakamura gets thrown out the ring. And we're going to commercial break. I don't see how we're going to get a clean decision tonight, says Charles. Either way, WWE wants face versus face for both women's title matches. That's dumb. What do you mean? For the Naomi, Bianca, and the Sasha Ronda? I don't think it's done. I don't think face versus face is done. We just said that Cody and Cena is a match I'd be tempted to book. And that would be face versus face. I think what it is Sasha is one of the biggest stars they've got. And, you know, I think a Sasha Ronda feud would have been very interesting. You know, she's just coming off her matches with Charlotte. And I think coming off her matches with Charlotte showed, and that last match in particular showed that she killed it, man. That match they had at WrestleMania Backlash I thought was excellent. So putting her in there with another good, credible opponent. Again, you've got to remember that Ronda hasn't got loads of experience. She really does need good, experienced wrestlers to be with her. And Charlotte's gone, so you can't do that. You can't do Becky because that is a feud that we've got lined up down the road, right? Natalya doesn't feel quite big enough. There's not loads of experienced, quality female wrestlers that can go up against Ronda right now. Because, as we said, Becky is a plan for the future. You won't do that now. That's their plan for WrestleMania 39. So you can't do Becky. You can't do Asuka because Asuka's having to plug the gap that would have been Naomi. So you can't do that. You can't do Charlotte because Charlotte's just gone. You can't do Bayley because she's still injured. So, you know, you're starting to run out of women now. You're starting to run out of options for people to go up against Ronda. You can't really do someone like Aaliyah because Aaliyah's green on the main roster and Ronda's green. You need someone that's going to be able to, you know, have a bit of experience and carry that match. And this is where I think Sasha was a good fit. She was a good fit. She's a credible opponent, super popular, And not only that, but you know that she's got the ability to go in there and have a good match. And actually, you know, make Ronda look good, make the title look good, have a good match, have a credible match, have a good feud. She's good on the microphone. Like, she ticks lots of boxes. So I totally understand why they wanted to go that way. And, you know, now they're going to have to scramble and find an alternative. But the face versus face thing, I don't think it's a problem. Heel versus heel, I think is a problem. Because heel versus heel, you just don't quite know who to cheer for. I mean, if it's heel versus heel, you just don't really... I don't care. If it's heel versus heel, I'm not really bothered. Unless it's someone like Gunther, who isn't a heel to me, because I think he's so cool that I just love him. So in my eyes, he's not really a heel. But... face versus face, I think you can always just pick a side. You can always just pick a side. We're back. We're back. They should do Ronda Shayna. There's already a backstory, says Lee. Brent said you're 100% right. Ronda, needs someone that can really bump for her. Yeah, that's a really good point. It's a really good point. Because, like... when she does those throws and everything, you need someone that's going to really sell it. And you need someone that's going to, you know, be able to ensure that the match keeps ticking over as well. And it doesn't stall or get lost. And if you've got someone like Aaliyah in there, God only knows what the end result would be. I mean, I ain't got a problem with Aaliyah. You know, she's all right. She's green, but she's all right. But it ain't the right time to be putting her in there with Ronda Rousey on a pay-per-view for a title. And the same could be said for quite a few of the women. 1, 2, knee to the back of the head and shoulder up by Sammy. I mean, Sasha would still be as big if she is now, if she wasn't in WWE. No, I disagree. She wouldn't be as big as she is now just because she's Snoop Dogg's cousin. Snoop Dogg has undoubtedly got other cousins, and we haven't got a clue who they are. You know, every famous person will have cousins. So, you know, could she have gone into modeling, or could she have found a way into acting and become as big as she is now? Maybe. I have no idea. I have no idea what her alternative path would have been. What I do know is undeniably WWE has helped to get to where she is right now because of the exposure and everything. I mean, like, she wasn't anyone when she joined. You know, she was a wrestler. She had to go. You know, she was Snoop Dogg's cousin, but she didn't skip NXT. That didn't, you know, it wasn't her path in. She didn't get in because of Snoop Dogg. It's one of those quirky, did you know type things. Did you know she is actually also the cousin of Snoop Dogg? But I think to suggest that her fame was guaranteed because she's Snoop Dogg's cousin is wrong. Sammy on the outside. Gets thrown into the ring post. Justin said, what do you think about Corey Graves joining Judgment Day? I heard some stuff that it could be a possibility. It worked well with Eric Bischoff. Stopped commentating to join up with NWO. 8, 9, Sammy. Got back in. Just Kinshasa. Kinshasa, 1, 2, 3. And Sammy loses. Sammy was on the outside. It got to a count of 9. He got back into the ring. Kinshasa'd. And he loses. Yeah, I mean, Corey Graves, the only thing I would say is I don't mind him going into Judgment Day. I just don't know how much he's going to be able to do. Talking-wise, I think he would be all right. But in ring, I don't know. I think what they need is they need someone that's got a bit of size to them. I mean, Damian Priest isn't small, but he's not got, like, much bulk. He's got a decent height to him, but I feel like they could do with, like, you know, someone like Haaland. How weird that this is the exact conversation we had. We've spoke about this. And now we're starting to hear reports that Edge wanted Haaland for Judgment Day. I completely agree, because that does feel like what's missing from the group is that big destroyer. You know, you think of the Wyatt family. They had Harper. They had Rowan. Who did they go and get? Braun Strowman. Like, do you know what I mean? You have that destroyer in your group. You know, they've got Edge, who's not a bad height, but he's just more of a legend than anything else. More than, you don't look at Edge like as physically impressive. He's a legend. He's got a decent size to him, but he's not small, but he's not big. Damian Priest, I think, might be a bit taller. But again, I just feel like you need someone that's got some size. So, you know, Von Wagner or, as we said, Haaland, had he stuck around, would have been a good addition. I would be looking in that direction. I would be looking in that direction more. But adding Corey Graves, it would be unexpected. I just don't know what you get out of him. I don't know what he would bring, to be honest, because it'd be interesting. But, well, I don't know what he'd be able to do in the ring. I mean, we've seen, like, all of, 5 seconds of action from him since he's been on the main roster, and that's when he did a little roll-up and won the 24/7 title. So what he could actually do in a match, I've no idea. I think Bischoff worked because he was in charge. And Corey Graves doesn't have that power, doesn't have that authority. So it feels a little different. Just had a video package hyping up the tag title unification, and now we've got Happy Corbin. Happy Corbin making his way down. Here is Happy Corbin. Already half an hour into this show. Scrappy Butch should join the Judgment Day, says Larry. RK Bro are going to win. Roman turns on Usos in disappointment, says Taj. Joe said, I agree. I wish Haaland was that final member. Edward said, Survivor Series, Ronda versus Bianca. I would be up for that. Reported yes movement hijacked the Bloodline. I don't know what that means. Drew Gulak could join Judgment Day, says Taj. Boring Corbin says let him in. Legend Killer, hello. Hope you are well. Right, looks like we're going to commercial break. Not a bad first match, that Sami Nakamura one. I mean, they always have good matches. I think they've been competing at house shows recently. Who is Haaland? He was a guy in NXT. He's called Parker Bordeaux, and he posts pictures of him working out, and then like his muscles and everything, and he is honestly like a baby Brock, and he was so impressive. And then he came in, and I must admit, I thought the way they were using him was not what I would have done, but it didn't really matter because it was NXT, and he was still finding his feet and whatever. And then they let him go out the blue the other week, and it turns out that, well, a couple of things actually. First of all, he wasn't making progress is what we were told, and now all of a sudden we're starting to hear that anyone that's signed to NXT is going to have a 90-day probation period. That means that when you sign for NXT, you've got 3 months to improve and get to a certain level. Like, I'm guessing, will probably test you against a few certain things throughout that 3 months to see if you reach the level that's required. And if you reach that level, happy days, like, they'll give you the proper contract. If you don't reach that level, they'll then, thanks for coming, but it hasn't worked out. Thank you, but, you know, bye for now type thing. And he wasn't reaching that level, basically. So that's what we were told, and then he ended up going. But in the past 48 hours, reports have come out now saying that they found out something about him, and that's why he was let go, but I haven't seen anywhere it be reported what it was they found out. But apparently something was found out about him that they didn't like. I don't know. You know, could be something political. Could be, you know, something sexist or racist, or who knows, right? There's no point speculating because it could be absolutely anything. And he might not even be guilty of it, who knows? But they found out something, and apparently that is also... I don't know if it's the real reason or if it's part of the reason. So, yeah, I don't know. Only, I'm sure they told him. I'm sure he's aware. And, you know, if it comes out, then we can obviously comment on it. But right now, it'd just be speculation. I have no idea. I haven't seen anywhere it reported what it was. He looked like a Fat Nails from the 80s and 90s. Perhaps he got let go because it brought back bad memories for Vince. Larry said, why can't Corbin drop the damn happy from his name already? Cliff says, NXT is kind of unwatchable now. Channel Name says, if he won't go back to Lone Wolf, then stay with the happy gimmick. It's better than the King gimmick. Michael said, did you hear Finn could be the next member? Meltzer is reporting that. I think that'd be good. I think that would be good. I think that Finn makes perfect sense because he is someone that, you know, creatively has been overlooked. He's someone that, you know, we've spoke a lot about frustrations that people have with creativity and the creative department and what they're asked to do. And every wrestler goes through that. Every wrestler. And, you know, a prime example you would think would be Finn Balor, who, you know, was a big star in New Japan and has come over to WWE, and they just really don't seem to know what to do with him. Like, he's held the Universal title for 24 hours, that's it. And then he got injured. I mean, where he would be if he never got injured, I don't know. I'm sure he thinks about it quite a bit. But, you know, he ended up going back down to NXT and being, like, moved around. So if someone needs, like, if this group is a group of people that feel then they're being a bit overlooked, you know, Damian Priest made the comment that he was at WrestleMania, but everyone was more focused on Bad Bunny. Rhea Ripley, you know, is sick of being in tag teams. I mean, look, Finn Balor fits that group perfectly. Perfectly, because of everything that he's been through. So, yeah, I've no problem with him going in. Hustle for love. Appreciate it, dudes. Fist bump back to you. Right, Corbin is wearing a $12,000 hat. Got ripped off. He's got a lovely watch, though. Stone Cold told a story about a watch to Cody. Apparently, he never had a nice watch, but he bought himself a nice watch with, like, one of his paychecks from WWE. And he was doing a segment, and he had this watch on. It fell off. And I think it was like Undertaker or someone was walking over, and he said he was in the ring and he saw Undertaker approaching his really genuinely expensive watch and absolutely wrecked it, destroyed it, obliterated it, stood on it and just, that was it. Yeah, that was good. That was really good last Friday, actually. I forgot about that. That's when they put the chair, you put the chair over the neck of, yeah, that was really good when he put the chair over the neck of Madcap. Picked up the Andre trophy. I got fined a lot of money for that. Well, a lot of money to most people. You can't put a price on art, and that was art. Let's look at it again. I mean, they keep showing it, and it is really good. The only thing I would say, just one little observation, he got fined a lot of money because I'm guessing what he did was wrong. Yeah, that's what they're saying. You shouldn't do that. You know, injuring a superstar that way is appalling. We're going to fine you a lot of money. So then why have they just shown it again this week 3 times? It's kind of like saying what you did last week was so wrong, but yeah, we will play it 3 times for you on this week's show. Madcap Moss had it good. I paid for it all. He had it good. If he wants to eat steak now, his nurse has got to chew it for him first. Reports came out today that Sasha's deal expires in a few months. If she ends up in AEW, I feel that's beneath her, and they don't have a big reach for someone that might want to go to Hollywood, said Big Time Baxter. Edward said 2K have confirmed there will be a 2K22. Came out of the shirt, didn't it? Did you see that Madcap was written off for a while, possibly for a character change? Oh, is that true, Michael? No, I did not. Thank you for that. That's interesting. I really want him to get a new character, to be honest. I think his Madcap, hopefully he gets a new name. He was Riddick Moss, wasn't he? Do you remember? That was his first name, or the name I remember him by. And then they changed him to Madcap Moss. I don't know what he'll come back as. Moss. Probably just Moss. I'm the big bold wolf, did he say? I huffed, I puffed, and Madcap Moss went in an ambulance. But there we go. People reacting to good promos. Sasha has confirmed that she's going to stay in WWE, says Richards. AEW posted a video on their YouTube channel of Bryan Danielson being stuck. I wonder if it's actually a work, says Lance. Don't know, to be honest. That was a really good promo. Shame the crowd was dead. He's absolutely wrecked the Andre trophy, you know. He's wrecked it. He has absolutely destroyed it. I wonder what that means. Will they make another one? Oh, don't disrespect Andre. What does that mean for the Andre Battle Royal trophy? Well, there we go. The trophy has been absolutely destroyed. Like, the base of it has been wrecked. He holds up the Andre bit on top. Thankfully, that wasn't wrecked. But he holds that up in the air. And there we go. He's destroyed Madcap's trophy. Wrestle with Andy, hello. My hot take is that Corbin is now a top 5 performer on SmackDown. Austin is going to agree. There he is. Look at this. Caps. Capital letters. Yes! I love this comment. You're right. Settle down. Settle down. Here's my top 5 performer. He is ranked 1 through till 5. It's Gunther! Last Friday with a big chop on Drew Gulak. Gunther in red is dancing with me, cheek to cheek. Here we are. Here we go, the highlight of my week. Ladies and gentlemen. Show your utmost respect. He's on slow-mo, isn't he? Hing General. Hing General. I need to keep listening how they say it. I want to say it right. King General. It's like, how do you say ring general? So, in such an abstract manner. King General. Wunder, the King General. You don't even need to actually say words. As long as you just make a rough kind of noise that's similar to it, it works. Hunter King General. Taking on Drew Gulak. He uses lots of tongue. Well, don't we all, J14? Don't we all? The Redcoats are coming. Kathy, shout out to you. Kathy is the King General of the community. Michael said, did you see the report saying that if Tyson Fury is involved with the UK Premium Live event, they could do him against Drew instead of Roman versus Drew? What are your thoughts on that? I love Tyson Fury. I think he is one of the best sportsmen to come out of the UK, maybe ever. And I've got nothing but respect for him. But, you know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say. If you've watched this channel for a while, you know what I'm going to say. You do not call a plumber and then ask them to do your garden, right? You don't call a plumber up and then when they arrive with their tools and their wrench, you don't go, right, can you cut the grass and I need you to try and get the weeds out because it is a nightmare. Like, you don't do that. You call a gardener. Like, I feel like you're getting the world champion boxer and then he's trying to wrestle and I cannot get my head around it. I cannot get my head around it. I don't understand why he's doing this. Like, I've no problem with him stepping in the ring. In my eyes, he is a fighter. And so he brings very serious skills in the sense of he could knock anyone in WWE out. I've got no doubt about that. He could knock out Roman. He could knock out... Could he knock out Brock? Damn, man. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Brock Tyson Fury in there trying to find, you know, Brock looking for takedowns. Brock looking to try and take down Tyson Fury and get him down on the ground. Because if Fury's down on the ground, he's still going to have the power in his shots, but he's not going to be able to, you know, throw bombs like he can on the feet. For me, I just think that you've got a boxer, so have him go in there and allow him to, you know, box. Allow him to, like, you know, use his head movement, use his footwork, use his box. These are the skills that he has got that has made him one of the biggest sports stars in the world. What I don't need to see is I don't need to see Tyson Fury doing drop kicks. I don't need to see Tyson Fury doing headlocks and doing clotheslines and doing elbows from the top rope. Like, there's plenty of wrestlers I can watch do that, but there's only one heavyweight champion of the world that could go into WWE and cause problems, you know, with his hands. That's what I want to see. I want to see people worried about getting knocked out and trying to avoid getting knocked out. I want to see them trying to work out, how the hell do I beat this guy? That, to me, is the excitement of that match. That's the excitement. The excitement of that match is not, I don't want to see Tyson Fury just become a generic wrestler. I want to see Tyson Fury throwing his hands in quick combos, lots of different angles, and people, be it Drew, be it whoever, being like, I have no idea how I'm going to beat this guy. I've got to get him down somehow. I've got to get him onto the ground. And I want to see them struggling with that. And maybe, you know, even getting caught and getting knocked out. Referee checking on them and, like, calling the match off because they can't continue. Or Tyson, like, knocking them out and then pinning them, 1, 2, 3. Or however it is. So, for me, I don't mind. I actually don't mind Tyson Fury against Drew. I don't mind that. I don't want Drew to be the one to beat Roman anyway, so I haven't got a problem with Tyson Fury Drew, because that means someone else can face Roman. But equally, I don't mind if we do Drew Roman. I just hope Roman gets the win. An easy win here for Gunther, but my biggest concern would be let's not hire the world champion heavyweight boxer, of the world, the boxing champion of the world, and then have him do drop kicks. I mean, I get it. He wants to show that he can do it, but, he can't. You can't. I watched his match against Braun Strowman. It was rubbish. Because he's not a trained wrestler. Oh, hello. He's got him in a Boston Crab, and here comes Ricochet. Ricochet's jumping in the ring. Why didn't Gunther just smash him? Gunther's walking away. Gunther should have just smashed him. I'd love to have seen Gunther smash Ricochet there. Gunther beats Gulak, puts him in a Boston Crab. Ricochet makes the save. Oh, he's so cool. That girl in the front row, she doesn't look like she's been planted or anything. She's like got a phone in her hand. She's like, desperately wants to get a picture with Gunther. LA Knight. What's his name? Max Dupree. They've changed his name to Max Dupree. Max Dupree. LA Knight is now Max Dupree. It's not the worst name. It's not Butch. I don't even know why I'm surprised. Of course they've changed his name. Of course they've changed his name. Sonya Deville hired me. Adam, you're right. This is awkward. Isn't it? It's weird, man. It's like they want you to just forget about LA Knight. Forget about LA Knight. No. Dupree. Max Dupree. Dupree. No, you're not getting it, Adam. You're so close. Max Dupree. There we go. Max Dupree. We're backstage with RK Bro. LA Knight was a cool name. Reminds me when Homer Simpson was Max Power. That was a great name. Max Dupree. In fairness, I thought LA Knight was a bit silly, but name changes are annoying. I think the thing with the name changes, right, is I don't mind that name change personally. LA Knight, Max Dupree. I don't. Max Dupree feels like it could be a name, and he's someone that apparently is like searches for models. I mean, why he's not hit me up, I haven't got a clue. Like, I'm sure we can all agree that he doesn't need to look any further than these streams. But Max Dupree definitely seems like the kind of name of someone that would do that. Max Dupree seems like someone that would definitely go looking for models. So I don't mind that. I think the only thing that becomes annoying, and again, I'm over it, is the fact that it's just another reminder that if you are watching NXT because you want to, kind of get the jump, if you will, and know these superstars, they've just completely repackaged him there. I mean, that was LA Knight, who has now got a different name. He's saying that he has not come from NXT. He was hired by Sonya Deville. Like, they literally want you to not know about LA Knight. They don't want you to know about him. He doesn't exist. Or if he did, it was someone different, right? Someone that looks like this guy. It's not the same guy. It's another Elias Ezekiel thing. It's not this guy. This is Max Dupree, right? This is not LA Knight. That's annoying. Because I think what you want to be able to do, and what I want to do, is I want to watch people in NXT and like follow their story and their journey of them competing and then get into the main roster and watching their story continue. A lot like Asuka did. You know, Asuka's, went through, didn't change, came to the main roster, kept the same name and everything. Same as Paige. When Paige was down there, she came through, went to the main roster and everything. So, I want to follow these people, and their journeys begin in NXT for a lot of them. So I think to have a character in NXT and then completely change it, and like, no, that person doesn't exist. And it is annoying. But we've seen it so many times now that I'm at the point where I'm not even surprised anymore. NXT really is developmental. It's where they teach you the WWE way. It's, there's lots of different ways of doing things. There's lots of words you're not allowed to use. There's lots of moves that are banned. There's you need to get used to, if you're having a match that's about to go to commercial. How do you know it's about to go to commercial? How do you know it's coming back from commercial? Knowing where the hard cam is. Working on your promos, working on your entrances, working on your character, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of what NXT's for. But it's to teach you those skills. And in all fairness, LA Knight already had a lot of those skills, if not nearly all of them. And in all fairness, he's probably spent, 12 months in NXT or something? On and off, not even consistently. And, no surprise they found a place for him on the main roster. I think that was sort of expected because he was on main event, wasn't he? And a lot of people were saying that it looks like he's been called up now. And we've had that confirmation, but we found out he's not been called up as LA Knight. He has been called up as Max Dupree. So we'll see where it goes. I'm falling asleep. I'm going to watch the stream, but I'm not going to chat, says Ezwood. That's fine. Dusty roads could have been muddy streets, says Sticky Dreamboat. I like that name. Here's Arcade Bro with Kayla. Do you think LA Knight wants to be Max Dupree? No, but he does want to get paid, so he's there. Good point. Excellent point. Good job he didn't walk out when he found out that they've changed his name. Do you know why I'm going into tonight's main event so confident, says Riddle? RK Bro 420 says, we just smoked your ass. Okay, so we've got these two feeling very confident about our main event tonight. Why did he cut off his Johnny Depp goatee? Perhaps Amber Heard made him. That is one of the few name changes that is an upgrade. LA Knight sounds like a porn name. It does, actually. Why do they keep messing with Rampage? I think it's the NBA playoffs. So it was on before. Right, we've got progressive match flow. Is this looking at something from last week again? Yeah, Ronda. She doesn't have an opponent at the moment, does she? She ended up having a match last week against Raquel Rodriguez, which was pretty fun. I wonder if they'll keep going with that feud. I wonder if it'll be a case that, I don't know how green Raquel Rodriguez is, but their match last week was decent. Deep down, I want Shinsuke to take the titles off Roman, says William. Tori, the Native American Warrior, shout out to you. Ronda Raquel last week was great. Oh, there's Shotzi. Oh, there's Aaliyah. WWE are pitching for Orton and Riddle to go after the World Championships, even though they're the tag champs right now. I think they should walk out, says Harley. Oh, Harley, don't give him ideas. Don't give him ideas. Here's Aaliyah. Here's Shotzi. Here's Raquel. There's an amazing Shotzi figure coming out, by the way. There's an amazing Shotzi action figure on the way. Looks so... I don't think it's out. I think it's out this year, but it's incredible. It's got all her tattoos. It's so good. I'm going to make you pay for stealing my opportunity last week. So have we got Shotzi against Raquel Rodriguez next? Okay, so Raquel Rodriguez making her way down. Big smile on her face. Loving life. Hi, I'm Max Dupree, Renee Dupree's older brother. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. My future wife, Shotzi, says Shadam. Is it Raquel Shotzi? I think it is. There's her back. Look, yeah. So good. That's my favourite part of SmackDown. My favourite part of SmackDown is when we get to have a look at Raquel's average back. I mean, honestly, it might be amazing. I have literally no idea. I have no idea. I've been fortunate enough to see a few ladies' backs in my time. Mainly as they're walking away after I've just approached them. It looks exactly the same as every other lady back I've ever seen, to be honest. I just don't understand. But it is my favourite part of the week. Eli Drake, LA Knight, Max Dupree. At least they've kept 3 syllables. Oh no, can't hire Maxwell Friedman now. Can't have 2 Maxes. They'll have to change him as well. Well, I mean, he can't come in until 2024 anyway, so I think we've got a long way to go before we have to think about such things. I don't even think he's coming in, to be honest. I really think that whole MJF thing is a big work. I think that I've said before, with MJF being so vocal about going to WWE, he's either a really unprofessional employee or it's a work, because, you know, he's actually used AEW TV time to talk about potentially going to WWE. He's included it in his promos. And I think if I'm Tony Khan, that is just I am literally being spat in the face, like, well, maybe not literally, but I am sort of being spat in the face, slapped by one of my own talents, basically threatening to go to the competition as soon as they can, teasing they're going to go to the competition when their contract's up and all of this. I mean, I just think that, and then to, like, talk about it in promos, away from AEW and in interviews, and talk about how he'd be open to going to WWE and everything, like, it just seems really unprofessional. Like, you've got a job and you're being paid to, you know, work with AEW and promote AEW and be part of AEW. And for him to be talking about, like, WWE and threatening to go there, it would be really unprofessional, if true. I don't think it's true. I think what he's actually doing is he's trying to annoy the AEW fan base. I think what he's done is he spoke to Tony and he said, look, I've got an idea, or Tony's had the idea, how do I get as much heat on myself as possible? How do I get people to hate me? What can I do that is going to really make people hate me that I can legally do? Apart from going into the crowd and slapping everyone individually, what can I do? And, the biggest thing you can do is praise WWE and talk about how you want to get out of AEW because it's rubbish and WWE is better and WWE treat their performers better and, things along those lines. Because that is going to go down like a lead balloon with the AEW fans. It's going to go down like an absolute lead balloon. They are not going to appreciate hearing that at all. Because a lot of those diehard AEW fans can't stand WWE. Can't stand Vince, can't stand the WWE product. You got Jericho making fun of sports entertainment. So in my mind, the fact he says it on TV, the fact that he says it so often in interviews is his way of getting heat. And it's his way of, ensuring that he keeps, a good distance between him and those AEW fans. And he can stay as a heel. When his contract comes up, I equally don't deny that, I'm sure he would listen. But I think he's very important to AEW. I think he probably feels like AEW is the place that gave him his break. I think he probably feels like... I don't want to say he probably feels a bit of loyalty there, but I think he is probably treated quite well. And I would imagine he's treated as being quite important, and he's all over the shows. So I would imagine that he'll get paid well. If WWE come in with a bigger number, though, in 2024, it will be interesting. I'm not saying that he won't leave. But what I am saying is that I think that him being as vocal about it is because of him getting heat. We are back. Over 40,000 tickets sold already. I thought there would be more sold than that. I thought it'd be sold out instantly, to be honest. I think they've been releasing tickets, though, in a bit of a staged manner. I don't think they just put them all out. Because there was, a couple of release dates I saw. I saw them saying, there's some £30 and £65 tickets that have become available, which I don't think were available at the start. I think when they first went on sale, they were, a couple of £100. But that's because these were, really premium kind of seats in good areas. And then I think the ones that are in the heavens that are maybe off on a slight angle or whatever, I think they've become available now. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm expecting it to sell out. 40,000 gone already, apparently. But if you want Clash of Castle tickets, then there's probably a chance you can still get them. Hustle for Love, shout out to you. Thumbs up to you. MJF is the best in the business right now. There's not much Tony Khan can do other than try his best to work with MJF. You can't let that guy go, says Justin. Right, we are underway with Raquel and Shotzi. It's no longer a big four. It's any show in a stadium is just a big deal, says channel name. AEW is the GOAT. WWE is second, says Gabriella. Larry said, so Drew is not at SmackDown tonight. Roman will cause RK Bro to lose. Maybe Max Dupree will be paying a visit to the WWE psychologist. My friend checked today and saw they are cheaper. Yeah, I saw someone on Twitter saying the exact same thing, that it was cheaper. Apparently, there was a lot of people that were concerned because when the tickets first went on sale, they were no joke, about 200 and something pounds. People were like, what the hell is this? Understandably, but I mean, it is a pay-per-view, but I mean, geez, surely the whole reason why you put it inside a venue like that is so that you can have the ticket prices, yes, make more money, but keep the ticket prices reasonable. I mean, to my knowledge, that what's the expenditure to rent the stadium? I mean, they do O2 in front of 20-odd thousand. Those tickets aren't crazy prices. And, largely it's going to be the same names. going to be the same names. I mean, will they go out and get a Tyson Fury? Maybe. Maybe they will. Did you hear Moxley has apparently re-signed with AEW? No, but I'm not surprised. I don't expect him to come back to WWE. We spoke about that before. Right. There was a slight problem with BT. It's just gone down for a moment. I just need to get... I need to have to press a button to fix it. Hang on. We're still underway. God, that was a nightmare. I just had a little message that came up that says BT Sport is not working currently. Cancel, go back kind of a thing. And I was like, oh, God. So I've just gone to do it, and then it was just on a black screen for ages. So never had that before. Of all the technical problems we've had, I've never actually had that one. So that's a new one to add to the list, where the TV just has like a black screen for a while. Right. Did not see who got the victory in that last one. So you'll have to let me know as to who won that. Lister Jericho said £5,000 for the cheapest hotel package. Jeez. Right, we're moving on to Xavier and Butch. Xavier versus Butch. And then we've got Usos coming up against RK Bro. That's our main event. There'll probably be another match after this as well. But Xavier making his way down. You skipped my super chat. I don't think I saw it, to be honest, buds. What did it say? In my opinion, AEW lost its identity. That makes it different. AEW lost its identity that made it different. It's interesting. It's interesting. Are we saying because, like, it's meant to be, like, more in-ring and... I mean, it is true. After every match, there does tend to be a brawl. Like, there doesn't need to be a brawl after every match. And, you know, they do have those kind of sports entertainment moments. I think, to be honest, what I think Tony had a vision of making it a certain way, and I think they've tried to do that a few times, and I think the ratings and whatever have shown that what is more popular with people is more in line with the WWE way. You know, unfortunately, if you was to just do match after match after match, that wouldn't resonate with people. And so to do, like, sports entertainment, those kind of, you know, sports entertainment moments, the 10 lashes and whatnot, you know, that jumping off ladders and all this kind of stuff, that does resonate with people. So I think they're, like, having to constantly try and balance trying to be the alternative with also trying to give people what they want. I think, you see, people that are into wrestling, that is X amount of people, whereas there's a much bigger audience out there, the casuals, that just want to be entertained. And I think to entertain them, you know, you have to maybe lean into sports entertainment. This opens up a whole new conversation, which we're not going to get into, but it's, you know, what is wrestling in 2022? What is pro wrestling? Because if you want something real, well, you've got UFC now, and that wasn't around before. That I mean, you know, that was struggling all throughout the 90s. It was struggling, and by the early 2000s, it was on the verge of going. It was you know, the Ultimate Fighter show had to work. If it didn't, they were dead. They were pulling the plug, or UFC would have gone. And so that's how close they came to struggling. Shane McMahon wanted to buy UFC when it was available, and Vince wouldn't buy it. So, which is probably for the best. But God only knows how it would have gone if he had. But yeah, UFC's around now, and that obviously throughout the 90s was there, but was not much of an impact, and since like the mid-2000s just has exploded. So if you go with that kind of realistic stuff, which you do need from time to time, but if you was to do it all the time, well, there's a real alternative to that now, and it's called the UFC. If you go too much with like the sports entertainment stuff, well, you know, that's you're moving too far away from what people are even watching this for, and what they're watching it for is conflict resolution. Two people have got a problem and they have a match to settle their problem, and you know, the best is the champion, and at its core that's what it is. And so the more you move away, the more you like burn wrestlers in a ring and do that kind of stuff, which entertains, you know, people. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it, you know, that's, you know, moving away from what it should be, or what it is at its core, which is having matches, crowning a champion, conflict resolution. So like the sports entertainment side of it, it's about finding that balance, isn't it? And I think the WWE balance is maybe weighted more to sports entertainment. The AEW balance is weighted a bit more to pro wrestling. So they're just on the same scale, where you've got sports entertainment and you've got pro wrestling. I would say that if you was to put where WWE are, you'd put them relatively close to sports entertainment, and where AEW are, you'd put them a bit more over to pro wrestling. Neither goes fully, I don't think. Neither goes like fully in like that direction, but certainly I would say WWE are closer to sports entertainment than maybe AEW is to pro wrestling, but it's a whole separate conversation. Dizzle Dog, shout out to you, bud. I'm loving your boxing. I don't even know what it is. Boxy Foxy. Is it a Foxy? I'm loving your Boxy Foxy. I think it's a fox. I don't know. I'm distracted by his headband. He looks cool. Do you think Tony Khan is like Vince and he's got final say over everything? Yes. Definitely. I think 2022 is the year that we get a tease of hardcore going more mainstream, at least in terms of watching AEW and Impact. Are you team Johnny Depp or team Amber Heard? I've not been watching it. I haven't watched a single second of it. In fact, I don't even know what it's about. So, you know me, I've got... alls we do is sit here for hours and hours in a week. So, you know, if we're not going to talk about things and give honest opinions, then what are we even doing here? So I'm quite happy to give my thoughts on it, but I genuinely haven't been watching it, so I don't know. Butch in the ring. It does seem like a lot of people are on Johnny Depp's sides. I've seen probably a lot more support for Johnny Depp than I have for Amber Heard, but what that's based on, I don't know. It's Butch. Changing wrestlers' names is the worst decision WWE have ever made, says Kavlog. I think we need Gunther versus Roman, says Typical Summers. Butcher on the outside. Xavier having some fun with Butch grabbing him by the ear. And throwing him into the ring. Butch back up on his feet. Butch coming over, stomping on the hands of Xavier. Butch throwing in some forearm strikes. New Day Rock is the chant from the crowds. It's crazy to me that Pete Dunne is on the main roster and it just doesn't feel like it. I mean, I don't know. I can't even tell you if this is working. I mean, what I will say is they are definitely trying to get him over because this whole Where's Butch has played out on social media and people have been having some fun with that. Him being like Scrappy Doo, wanting to get at people and being held back, kind of makes him come across as a bit like a loose cannon. And I think that kind of resonates with people as well. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how people feel about Butch. For me personally, I used to get really excited when it was a Pete Dunne match in NXT UK or NXT, mainly when he was like the NXT champion. You felt like, oh, it's Pete Dunne, man. This is going to be really cool. Like, you knew you was going to watch something really great. And now when I see Butch, I just don't really feel anything. Butch down. Mark, shout out to you. Mark Michael, hope you are well. Appreciate the support. I think it's working. I love Butch. He does the joint manipulation just under this new Scrappy Doo, says Jilly. Almighty's Nick said, I like him if they let him win. Wrestling Wriggle said, definitely a difference, but I enjoy AEW and WWE. Smackdown with some good matches tonight. Finally giving some time to Shotzi. I know, I missed it. I know, I missed it. That's just as my TV went to a black screen, unfortunately. But I agree. Good to see Shotzi getting some time. Kick coming in by Butch. Pete Dunne was better, says the one. WWE have trademarked Bloody Brutes, but have gone with Brawling Brutes. I actually like Brawling better. Who's called Brawling Brutes? Top Rope Inzaguri. Is that the name of the Sheamus, Ridge, and Butch group? The Brawling Brutes. We talked about your Mount Rushmore of women's wrestling. Who's on your Mount Rushmore of tag team wrestling, says Darcy. It's a good question, bud. 2, 3. Xavier wins. Little roll up by Xavier. I'll try and answer it as quick as I can, because I think we might be on the verge of this tag team unification, but good timing for such a question. I think undeniably for me, Road Warriors would be the first that I would be chiseling in. Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, I regard them as the greatest. They're the greatest to me. So I would definitely be chiseling them in. After that, it becomes a little bit tricky because, you know, you've got the Hardys and you've got the Dudley Boys. And I feel like both of them are definitely in with a shout. But then you've got, like, Rock and Roll Express, who are, I think they're even still competing today. The only problem with the Rock and Roll is that they didn't have a big impact on me when I was young. Because they weren't in WWE. But I still have to acknowledge what they've done. And what they've done is amazing. Like, they are one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Same as the Midnight Express. Midnight Express are one of the greatest tag teams of all time. So those are the names that are kind of in my mind. But I'd go... Go Road Warriors, Dudley Boys, maybe Rock and Roll and Midnight. I might go with them. Hardys might just miss out, which is harsh, but I'm a harsh guy. New Day as well. I mean, you could make an argument for New Day. You could make an argument for New Day. I feel like a lot of tag teams probably get, like, disqualified because they weren't together very long. You know, like, I mean, British Bulldogs were an amazing team, but, I mean, how long were they together for? I don't think they were together, like, ages. Good few years, but, I mean, if you look at, like, Rock and Roll Express, they've been together for, like, I don't know, God only knows, 30, 40 years. Road Warriors, for me, are the greatest tag team of all time, so they go on. Same with, like, the Hart Foundation, you know, Bret Hart, Jim the Anvil, they were together for a few years, but then, of course, they split, and Bret would go off on his own. Still, the impact they had was amazing, and undeniably, I'd have them in the conversation, but they wouldn't be getting chiseled. Neither would the British Bulldogs. I'm trying to think who else. Moondogs. It's a good shout. Killer Bees. Dudley Boys or Hardly Boys. I'd be going Dudley Boys. The reason why I'd go Dudley Boys is because they were in EC Dub as well. And I think that... aren't they the most decorated tag team? I've got a feeling that they were in New Japan, they were in ECW, they were in WWE. Like, I've got a feeling they are the most decorated tag team. Like, no tag team has won as many championships as the Dudley Boys. So I think the Dudley Boys go on for that reason. I think the Road Warriors go on because I don't think any tag team has had an impact the Road Warriors had. Rock and Roll go on because, you know, massive team, massive impact, just not in WWE, but I don't think that should hold them back. And I think that their longevity, you know, they have been around for a long time. And as I said, still wrestling now. They were in AEW as well. Do you remember they were a team that got put through the entrance stage by, I think it was the Young Bucks. And I was watching them in NWA Power. So they were in NWA Power. They've been in AEW. They've been, like, competed all over the world. They're one of those teams. Like, if you're going to talk about the greatest tag teams, I feel like you have to include the Rock and Roll. And then Midnight. I mean, it's so hard to not include the Midnight, but I can understand why people would go with Hardys or New Day, like, or, you know, teams that are a bit more recent. You got the Wild Samoans as well. I mean, they got a shout earlier, and rightfully so. Steiners, yeah. Harlem Heat and Outsiders. Arn and Tully, it's a good shout. LOD, 3D, Hardys, and Rock and Roll. Demolition were amazing. Axe and Smash. Axe and Smash were very, very good, yes. I wouldn't be putting them on Mount Rushmore. I feel like they were very good. They were very influential. I don't know how long they were together. And obviously, you know, it kind of, the wheels come off towards the end and they bring in Crush and Axe ends up losing his job and they wanted to go with Crush and Smash and it didn't work out and they ended up, like, separating and whatever, but I sort of feel like they were WWE's answer to the Road Warriors because they couldn't get the Road Warriors, and then they got the Road Warriors and obviously called them Legion of Doom. And then, like, we did get the feud. We sort of had matches between them, but it was never quite what people wanted. But they were undeniably the two big teams in WWE at that time. But Demolition didn't do anything outside of what they did in WWE, whereas Road Warriors were bigger outside of WWE than when they were in them, arguably. The Road Warriors pop, you know, is if there is a massive reaction from the crowd, it's called the Road Warriors pop, and that's because when they used to come out. Like, the reaction was just like nothing you've ever heard. So I'm pretty comfortable with Road Warriors being at 1, or LOD as they were known. And as I said, yeah, Dudley's the one. I probably wouldn't move on Dudley's and Road Warriors. Rock and Roll, I feel like they should be there, and then Midnight is the one that that's the one that I could change. Undertaker and Kane, Brothers of Destruction, says David. Freebirds and Von Erichs. I didn't include them, but I suppose you could include Freebirds because they were a tag team. They operated under the Freebird rule, didn't they? So yeah, I mean, they were very influential. Freebirds is an excellent shout. I suppose in my mind, because of them being like 3 of them, kind of think like, is it more of a faction? It's good though. It's good conversation. DX were awesome. Were they in the World Wildlife Fund? They were, yeah. Hustle for Love with your hippo hype. Shout out to you. What's this? They're talking about? Sasha and Naomi have been suspended indefinitely. Sasha and Naomi, so, wow, Jesus. I mean, that is a way of announcing it, isn't it? That is a way of announcing it. So, we're going to have new tag team champions. Sasha and Naomi disappointed their millions of fans around the world. Not my words. The words of Michael Cole. It was really weird because they just showed the graphic on screen. And as they were talking about it, I was like, I saw it. I was like, are they going to talk about it now? So they've said that they disappointed their fans around the world, millions of fans around the world, and their fellow superstars. And they've been suspended indefinitely. And the women's tag titles, there'll now be a tournament to crown new women's tag team champions. So, I mean, to be honest, it's an update, but it's not really an update because my first reaction to that is they got suspended. I mean, I don't think anyone expected anything else to happen. I mean, they got suspended. Yep, okay. And we're going to crown new champions. So I sort of feel like it was an update, but it's not really an update. I think what's more interesting is the fact that this hasn't been put out on social media. There's not been a press release. It's not been kept away. I think what's the most interesting part of that is announcing it on SmackDown and actually saying that they disappointed the fans and they disappointed the superstars. And I think that's really interesting. What it does as well, and this is really important, right? What it does is it sets a precedent. And I think that's why they're doing it, to be honest. I think they're doing it to set a precedent. I think they're doing it so that superstars know if you do this, this is what we do. If you do this, this is the reaction. There's no doubts now about what we do. No one will be like, oh, God, if I do walk away, what are they going to do? There's no doubt what they're going to do. We know what they're going to do. You're going to be suspended indefinitely, and they will, announce it on TV that you let down the fans and you let down fellow superstars. And WWE will be held to account on that now. And so they should. If anyone else does it, If anyone else does it, if anyone else walks out during a show, and that is important, right? Not 8 hours before a show, or not refuses to go to a show, but walks out during a show where a match that has been announced has to then be changed during the show, right? Then they need to do this exact same thing again. There has to be that consistency. Because there are people out there saying that this has got like a racial tone to it, and that they're only kind of, making these statements because WWE is a racist company. They wouldn't do this if it was like, anyone else. And WWE need to be held to account on that, in all fairness. I do agree that this is it doesn't matter what race you are. The end of the line is, if you walk out on WWE during a show, this is the reaction. This is the reaction. So if Asuka does it, if Volta does it, Gunther, if Roman does it, if Butch does it, if Kofi does it, if Sami Zayn does it, I mean, literally, I'm just picking names. If anyone does it, walks out during a show and the match has to be changed, WWE now has made it very clear what they do. They'll issue a statement and they'll speak about it on the show, and that needs to be consistent every time. And this is the kind of thing that like HR have to really take into account, like the human resources department. They have to really factor this in, and there needs to be consistency there to ensure that it's all above board and fair. And there's been people that have sent tweets out going, oh, they didn't do this when Jeff walked away. But it's like, no, but Jeff didn't walk away during a show, did he? It happened at a house show. And we didn't have to change an advertised main event. And Jeff wasn't a champion as well. I mean, like, they're now having to tell you, they're going to have to crown new women's tag champs. You need to know why. You need to know why. You need to know why we're crowning new tag champs. Women's tag champs. So, there are factors in play as to why they need to tell you. There's going to be a tournament that's starting soon. And you're going to need to know why we're doing that tournament. And do you know what? I can understand WWE not wanting to lie. I can understand WWE not wanting to create a false narrative. Do you know what? Like, here you go, guys. 2 of our superstars didn't want to perform for you. 2 of our superstars decided to walk away on Raw. So, as a result of that, we now need to crown new tag team champions. I'd love to know how Jimmy feels about it, I'd love to know how Jimmy feels about it, because that's his wife. And he's, like, proper in the middle here. Because he's going to, of course, he's going to stand by his wife. And I'm sure he knows all the ins and outs and everything. He's going to stand by her. Because that's his wife. That's who he loves. And, she finally, she's been sat in catering and not doing, it's so crazy to me. So crazy to me that here's a girl that I've wanted to see get used more. She's now a tag team champion. She was about to win the main event of Raw. She was going to work a program with Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. And it's how isn't it so strange? Isn't it so strange that it's at that point that she walks out? It does feel to me like this has been a Sasha decision that Naomi has gone along with. It feels that way because Naomi didn't walk out when she was not being used. She didn't walk out when, for a long time she's not been used. And now she finally is at a point where she's a tag team champion. She's got a belt. Even though those belts don't mean much, even though they're, it's not a focus for WWE, still looks nice, isn't it, on your achievements to say that you'd won that, a championship. So, she gets to walk around with a belt. She gets to, when she's posing with fans, she's got a championship. That's a positive. Even though it might not be the most exciting championship, it's a positive. And she was going to win the main event of Raw as well. She was winning that match. And she was then going to work a program with Bianca and be involved in, a big title match at a pay-per-view. And, like, this is where it, like, all falls apart. Which is why I just think, like, if she wasn't in a team with Sasha, I don't think Naomi walks out. I could be wrong on it. I'm not in them rooms. But I just think if she's not in that tag team, I don't think she walks out. I'd love to know what's going on in Jimmy Uso's head. I'd love to know. I wonder where he puts the blame. I wonder he probably sees he's probably with his wife, innit? You can understand that. But saying that, he's not with his wife enough to walk out. And fair play to him. He's here tonight to still do the job. Hustle for Love, shout out to you. You're loving these, I don't know what they're called. Are these stickers or something? Game over. Is it game over for Sasha and Naomi? Kind of says, I agree. Sasha's been a diva since she came to the main roster. There's not a reason for it. Multiple-time women's champion, multiple-time tag champ, but still throws tantrums. Yes. Naomi disappointed the Bloodline. Naomi definitely had a choice. No one made her go out, says Virtual Fast. That is true. 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 Can't deny that. I think if I'm being honest, and that's all I am, but I do feel though that if she was on her own, she wouldn't have gone. I think that Sasha has in Sasha's head, she feels that she deserves to get her own way, her own stories or whatever, and this wasn't going the way she wanted, and I think that she, has walked out and managed to kind of convince Naomi to go with her. That's how it feels to me. Whether that's fair or not, maybe it isn't at this stage because I don't know enough about it, but I just find it so strange that Naomi hasn't ever shown this. She just always comes across as a lovely person. She just doesn't seem like this type of person. And now she gets into a main event, and she's going to win a main event of Raw, and she's a tag champ. Now she walks out. Don't know. There'll be people that absolutely lay into WWE for that statement. I ain't got no problem with it whatsoever. No problem. I think you have to let people know why we are doing a tournament, and why should they lie? I will be shocked if we get a clean decision tonight, says Charles. Hoff says, I'll be honest, I think it's a bit silly for Sasha to be upset now. I've not been a consistent watcher in a while, but seeing what Sasha has accomplished is silly to walk out. Yep. I mean, I think, I don't want to keep going on about it, but I mean, it is the biggest thing that's happened in a long time. I genuinely think this is right up there with Riddle. It looks like Riddle's a bit injured because someone's just come in to check on him, and we've gone to commercial break. Hopefully it's nothing serious, but Riddle landed a bit funny there, and someone's come in just to see he's all right. I think there's a ringside doctor that's just jumped in. We'll see where we are after the break, but obviously we've got a doctor in there, and I don't know if that was planned or if that's legit. It's not something you tend to see, so I would say a little bit concerning. So we'll see where we are when we get back. Why did Sasha and Naomi get suspended? They were meant to be in a match on Monday and they refused to take part, so they've been suspended. Cameron said Naomi wouldn't have walked out unless she was manipulated to. Everyone's got an opinion on it. I said on, I think it was Wednesday, there will be people in this chat that side with Sasha and Naomi. I don't see it. I don't get it. I have read loads of opinions on it on Twitter. I mean, I've seen loads of what Sasha stans have been saying, and you know what AEW fans have been saying. I've seen loads of ex-WWE stars saying well done for standing up for yourselves, and you know all this kind of stuff. But the bottom line to me keeps coming back to they are paid to perform a script, you know, and they refused to do it. I mean, they walked out. They refused to perform the script that they were given. And even if they don't like the story, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. If they don't like the story, there's thousands of wrestlers. I would say pretty much every wrestler ever has had to tell stories they've not liked. So for me, like, they went too far. They went too far. They can be upset about it. They can complain about it. They can be frustrated about it. They can moan about it. But at the end of the day, you do the job. You do the job that you're paid to do, and they walked away. So, you know, I'm very clear on my position on it, and I can't see me changing my mind unless it is they felt unsafe, blah, 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 as we've said a million times. But there will be people that still side with them, and that's fine. They're very popular, you know, and it's difficult for people to have sympathy for WWE, which, honestly, after what they did last year, I completely understand. There is people out there saying that Sasha and Naomi were right to walk away because why should they care about a contract when WWE clearly don't care about the contracts? That's probably the best argument that I've seen. But my response to that is, well, you know, if everyone takes that approach, there won't be any wrestling. There would be anarchy. And two wrongs don't make a right type situation, and you know, you can't go down those roads. If everyone walks out because of booking, there won't be any wrestling. Right, we're back. And I can tell you that Riddle is back on his feet. And double spine buster. We have got 12 minutes. This is the tag team unification match. Tag team unification match. They don't do the X unless something is wrong. Stop talking about Sasha and Naomi. The match is happening. I was talking about Sasha and Naomi when we was at commercial break. Riddle over by the ropes. And being choked out by that bottom rope. I'm used to it. I've got two kittens named Sasha and Naomi, and they've walked out on me at least twice a day, says Math Beach. Right, we've got Riddle being dragged over to the corner. Riddle down on the ground, tag. How's the night been? It's been all right. Had a few little wobbles with technical problems. Did miss the Raquel Rodriguez-Shotzi match, but this whole show has been built into this match right here. So this is, I mean, it's the only thing you really need to see. We've got both sets of belts on the outside of the ring on plinths. Just seeing Riddle going hard into the corner. Where is Roman, asks Michael Cole. There's every chance that he could come down and interfere. We've got Paul Heyman on commentary. We've got Usos in control. Riddle trying to make the tag to Randy Orton, who's on the outside. Back suplex. Riddle down. We're finding our groove here. Main event, Jey Uso jumping inside the ring. Let's get rid of the poll. Very, very close poll. Very close poll. We've had nearly 2,000 votes. And 52% of people have gone with RK Bro. 47% of people have gone with the Usos. So very, very close as to who's going to win this match. Could be that someone wins by DQ and the titles don't change hands. Nice knee strike by Riddle, trying to get over. Usos making the tag. Orton coming in. Clothesline. And again. Duck underneath. Scoop slam by Orton. Looking good. Another one there by Orton. It's going over. Looking for draping DDT. Vintage Orton. Big cheer by the crowds. Crowd are on their feet. They're loving it so far. Orton. Oh! 1, 2. Makes the save. Usos make the save. I think that was Jey Uso, was it, that came in, made the save. And Randy Orton was really close then to unifying the tag team titles. Going for an RKO, doesn't get it, gets pushed into the corner. Super kick there by Jey. Nice Pele kick by Riddle. Riddle kips up. Jey back in the corner. Forearm strike by Riddle. Against the ropes goes Riddle. Another big forearm strike. Lovely suplex. Knees up. Nice round the back. Picks him up. Ooh, neckbreaker. Lovely by Jey Uso. 1, 2. Shoulder up by Riddle. Shoulder up by Riddle. Confused look on the face of Jey Uso. That's lovely, that is. Lovely neckbreaker. Randy Orton not in sight to make the save there. But, good match. There's Heyman. Heyman is stressed. Sammy could get involved and accidentally cause a DQ, said Darcy. Do you like pineapple on pizza? I don't hate it. I'm not crazy about it, but I don't hate it. We've got Riddle down. We've got Jey going over to the corner. Climbing up top. Riddle running over. Belly to belly. Up top. Elbows coming in. Heyman trying to get in. Look, Heyman distracting. Roman preventing a superplex. Big splash. Lands on Riddle. 1, 2, 3. And the Usos have done it. The Usos have unified the tag division. New undisputed tag team champions. It is the Usos. It's the Usos. We've got 6 minutes to go here. I don't know what we've got with 6 minutes remaining. Riddle was going for a superplex. Roman came, grabbed a hold of his cousin, prevented the superplex. That resulted in the advantage swinging back for the Usos. The Usos get the win. And RK Bro have lost their tag titles. The Bloodline have got the WWE, the Universal, the Raw Tag Team, the Smackdown Tag Team championships. And there is destruction here. Ring steps being driven into Randy. And it is absolute destruction of RK Bro right now. Guillotine by Roman. Strike on Riddle. Riddle is down. Jey up top, big splash. Oh! Puts Riddle through the commentary table. Big splash off the top. They've not just won the tag titles, they are destroying RK Bro. They are destroying them. There's a kid in the crowd, looks like he's crying. That's good. That's really good. That's really good. Look at this guillotine again here by Roman. They're sending an absolute message. The kid in the crowd crying is a great shot to get. They cut just as he was being comforted by his dad or his, someone. Looked like it was his dad. Just kind of like, come on, mate, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. I just want to let that kid know that it's not. RK Bro are dead. Roman's killed them. Nothing's going to be all right ever again. Just if that kid's watching. Listen, the worst thing you can have is false hope. That is the worst thing you can have. Bloodline, man. Bloodline, standing tall. They have just absolutely destroyed RK Bro. This is horrible. Kids are crying. Summit's good when kids are crying. Cry more. That was good storytelling. Yeah, man. Listen, if you're going to get that reaction, look, Stephanie said that WWE is here to put smiles on people's faces. Tonight, they knocked it out the park. Those kids are traumatized. They are traumatized. And we've all been there. We've all been there. We've all been young kids watching as something's not gone our way, and we've all got upset in the past. I'm trying to think what upset me in the past. I can't quite remember, to be honest. God, I thought British Bulldog had won the Royal Rumble in, was it 95? And that's when Shawn Michaels holds on, skins the cat, gets back in, eliminates him. And Shawn Michaels wins the Rumble when I thought it was going to be the British Bulldog. We've all been there. The highs are never going to be or feel that high if you never experience how low the lows are. And those kids that are crying right now, it's a big life lesson for them. It's a big life lesson. It's going to, and you know what? It'll pay off for them in the long run. We'll get a smile on the face. Don't worry about it. Hustle for Love said that was a critical hit. It was for them kids. Get your scores in. Cry, little kiddies, cry. What do you score SmackDown? I gotta tell you, I thought SmackDown was fine. I didn't think it was really anything that special, but I didn't think it was bad. But I love that ending. I love that ending. When you spend time watching a show like this, you want to watch something, and you want to watch something that is significant. They've spent so long building up this match. If they'd have done a screwy finish, like a lot of us thought they were going to do, then you would have been like, all right, yeah, we move on to Hell in a Cell, yeah? They haven't. They haven't. Yes, it was cheating, and Roman got involved, but you have new unified tag team champions tonight. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And they made children cry. They get extra points for that. If you make children cry, you're over with me. Let's put it that way. Days celebrating the kids crying has got me cracking up. I just know. I don't want to come across as heartless. I mean, I don't care if I do, but I just know that we've all been there, and they're gonna have that redemption, right? I'm sure RK Bro are gonna get back at the Usos. Then the kids will have so much to cheer about. But this is the journey, isn't it? We all know you've got to have the lows to have the highs. So they've got it to the point where they've got kids crying, That's good. That says that they're really telling a good story and that they've got people really invested. So, it's good. The little babies were crying, said King Swag. Would you slap Haku? No. I'm disappointed in Riddle. I believe he tried to fake an injury to not lose, but oh well. Extra points for kids crying. I feel bad for the kids crying, says Jack. That's good. That's good, Jack, because it makes me feel like at least this stream isn't completely heartless. So that's good. I don't. And I feel all right about not caring now because I know there's people on the stream that do. So that definitely raises up the integrity of the stream. So I appreciate it. Has SmackDown and Raw been better in the past few weeks? I think Raw's been better than SmackDown. I think that's a big ending for this week's SmackDown, though. That's a big ending. John said, my inner child did not like that ending. The ending was awesome, said Jeremy. Brian said, would you slap yourself? Probably not. This face. Do you know what I mean? I'm waiting for a modelling call. That ain't coming if I'm slapping myself, is it? So... extra points for kids crying, says let him in. Nice. You say that, but Roman has been cheating and winning for 2 years and still hasn't got his. I want the faces to win for once. Yeah, but he's gonna get his. The Roman cheating for 2 years and winning and everything means that whoever beats him is going to be so over, is going to be the guy. Whoever beats Roman is going to be the guy. And, that moment will be big because of the amount of work that has gone into keeping Roman looking strong. So, we need to just make sure it's the right person that benefits from it, which is why whoever beats Roman is really important. It's really important we get it right. So, we'll have to see which way they go, but that is being built and being readied to send someone to the flipping moon. Whoever beats Roman, they're a made person. It's sort of like how you can brag about beating Undertaker at WrestleMania. Maybe it's not quite that level, but it's the biggest thing we've got right now. Who beats Roman is the question, isn't it? Who beats Roman? I probably get asked it at least once every stream. Who do you think will beat Roman? 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 It's the question. And there will be an answer to it. I've been on the face side for too long. I'm enjoying rooting for the villains. WWE is predictable because of Roman, says Adam. Bloodline has made history. Elijah says, show us results. What, for the poll? I can do that. Shoggoth says, whoever beats Roman will be over. Yes, but then what? We repeat the Roman formula until the company dies. Not really. I mean, whoever beats Roman, I think, will be a face. And then you'll have a face champion. And I would imagine a face champion will face very different challenges to Roman because they can't cheat, can they? They will constantly be losing the title. You probably won't have a face champion holding that belt for a long time because the truth is people get bored. People in this day and age get very bored quickly and want change and want, new things, new directions, and they don't want to just see the same thing all the time, which is fine and understandable. Which is why I don't know that you'll get Hulkamania again. I don't know that you'll get Bruno Sammartino again. I mean, Roman's a heel, and, you're meant to hate him, and you're meant to boo him, but people are, there are people out there that are bored of him being champion and want his title reign to end, as soon as possible. They want it to have ended already. So I think whoever beats Roman, I don't know how long they'll be champion for, but I don't expect it to be, like, a very long time. No one has held one of these titles for 1,000 days since Hulk Hogan in the 1980s. So Roman, by the time you get to WrestleMania next year, he'll be at 900 and some days. by the time we get to WrestleMania next year, which is still a long way to go. But we are sat here nearly at the end of May. So, you know, by the time we get to WrestleMania, I'll be on 900 and something days. No one has done 1,000 since Hulk Hogan. So, I mean, it's incredible what he's achieving at the moment. But I think once this ends, I wouldn't expect a heel, a face to, you know, do this again. I think you'll start to see it probably get moved around a little bit because it has been on someone and stayed that way for so long. So I think they'll probably then start exploring some different stories and having the belt move a little bit. I don't really want it to move around too much. But, yeah, I can't see us having another... I don't know when we get another reign like this, to be honest. I don't know when we see this again. This is history. I think when you look back in the history of WWE, there are some key title reigns. One that comes to mind is CM Punk's. CM Punk's title reign, I thought, was really important. Of course, Bruno's. Of course, Hulk Hogan's. A lot during the Attitude Era were too short to really be that significant, but this is undeniably one of the most important WWE title reigns ever. Undeniably. So, long may it continue for me personally, but I understand there's people that are jumping off as each passing day goes by that have had enough, but I'm still with it. I'm still all right. Brandon, shout out to you, bud, says, I like Roman and the Usos. Good group. Good group. RKD Dillard said, do you think that we could see Cena versus Brock versus Roman at SummerSlam? I don't think so. Just because we did Cena Roman last year, we've just come out of a very long Brock feud. I think to do Cena versus Brock versus Roman really stacks the deck against Roman. I think that's kind of two big names that he's already had, you know, matches with. I think it'd be better for him to face someone different. The rumors are, because I think isn't SummerSlam earlier this year? It's like in August. It could be like the rumors for his next three opponents. He'll face Riddle, he'll face Randy, he'll face Drew. Now where he's facing them, I don't know, but that really could be Drew at SummerSlam. It could be that we've got Randy at Money in the Bank. No, Riddle at Money in the Bank. Randy at Hell in a Cell or something. Hell in a Cell first, is it? Riddle at Hell in a Cell. Randy at Money in the Bank. Drew at SummerSlam. Could be something along those lines. But Cena, Brock, I mean, it's not impossible. But I would probably think it unlikely. 7 out of 10 says Hayden. Right, where are we? 455. Can we get that to, can we get it to 500? I don't know. It'd be nice if we could. Can we? I don't know. Probably not. We'll end it there. Here we go. Ethan said, how long are they suspended for? Who? Sasha and Naomi? Indefinitely. So that means, like, no date at the moment. They've suspended them indefinitely, and they're going to review it, basically. So, you know, it only happened on Monday. They will have had meetings about it, but there will have had to have been a lot of conversations about, you know, okay, what do we do? What media have they got? Because any kind of media that they've got to do has got to be cancelled. What plans have we got? They've had to redo the plans. So actually trying to establish, and also their contracts. You know, you need to know where they are with the contracts. You need to know legally what you can do. So the lawyers have got to get involved and have a look at it also. I think for now they've just said, right, we're suspending you indefinitely, and then they'll, you know, go back to it and review it soon. But I certainly wouldn't expect to see them over the next few weeks. I'm guessing it's going to be a 30-day suspension, says Connor. Maybe. Days, Naomi should take note. Her husband came in tonight knowing that he would win one of the biggest matches by cheating, and he didn't walk out, says Rashawn. I hope they can work things out with Naomi and Sasha, says Megan. should be 90-day. Well, we'll see, won't we? I mean, at the moment it's indefinite, so no idea. No idea what it is. And it could be that even WWE don't quite know what they want to do, to be honest. Because whatever they do has to send a message to other people that are going to think of doing the same. Basically, don't think of walking out on us. If you've signed a contract and you agree to do something, then do it. Otherwise, this is what the consequence is going to be. And it does need to be a consequence that will send that message. Because the last thing that WWE need now is like wrestlers walking out. So I don't know what that number's going to be, to be honest. I genuinely don't know. I don't even know what I would make it. I don't know what I would make it. Because it's easy to say, well, because the problem is you can't fire them. Because if you fire them, that is a way out of your contract. You know, there's people that, you know, like Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali wanted out of his contract, and he said, "Can I get released?" And WWE were like, "No, we can't do that." So he wanted to go. So if they now fire Sasha and Naomi, Ali, who was unhappy, just knows now that all he's got to do is just refuse to go to work. The only problem he had is that they didn't really have any stories for him anyway. So if he didn't go to work, I don't know how much it would have caused a disruption. But Sasha and Naomi, who were meant to be not only in that main event, but one of them was going to win that main event, that obviously caused a lot of disruption. So you can't, it's a balancing act. You can't just fire them, because that would be a way that people could get out of their contracts, and you don't want to give people that way out. But equally, you don't want to not do anything, because then people will see it as an option of like, well, I'll just refuse to do it. So you've got to find like a bit of a middle ground. And I don't know what that number is, to be honest. Oh, I'll be very, very, the same as you lot, interested to see what they come up with. Very interested to see what they come up with. Right, we did get the result, and it was 51% said 8-10, 28% said 7-7-5, so that's high, isn't it? I mean, I think for me, I really enjoyed that ending, so I'm going to go 7.5. I actually thought this show was fine. It was probably about a 6.75, maybe even a 6.5. I mean, I thought it was solid. I didn't really think it was anything spectacular, but I sort of enjoyed Sammy and Shinsuke. There was nothing on it that I hated. I did miss Shotzi and Raquel, so I don't know about that. Happy Corbin promo, I thought was pretty solid. It was all just like really solid. I wasn't really feeling Butch and Xavier. But man, that main event, I love the fact we didn't get cheated. And not only now have we pushed that story along, because we've now got the Usos with 2 sets of belts. So we've pushed that story along. Not only have we done that, but that beatdown afterwards as well. I mean, they were laying it in. I mean, no Drew to come and make the save. Like, they just absolutely destroyed RK Bro, and no one helped them. RK Bro are battered, they're bruised, their egos are hurt. It's going to be really interesting to see how they respond. You know, it's going to be great to see the Bloodline now with all those belts showing off. I mean, that image, you just don't get better unless they're going to go after the mid-card belts, and they ain't, right? But, I mean, what else do? You've got Roman with the 2 biggest titles. You've got the Usos with both the tag belts. I mean, the Bloodline is just on top of the world. I mean, there'll be a celebration of sorts, and I'd imagine the picture of them all in the ring holding up those belts will probably be in pride of place in their homes. If Naomi lets Jimmy put any pictures like that up on the wall anymore, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting to see how that develops, and it's going to be really interesting to see what RK Bro do in response. And you got to think that Drew will be back maybe next week. I don't know where he was this week, but maybe he's back next week to, level the playing field a little bit. We've already had RK Bro and Drew versus Bloodline. We had it at WrestleMania Backlash, and it was a fun match. But where do we go next? Do we do it in Hell in a Cell? Maybe Hell in a Cell is just 3-on-3 inside Hell in a Cell, which would be amazing. Not just RK Bro against Usos, but we chuck Roman and Drew in there as well. It'd be amazing. That'd be so good. I don't know. I haven't heard any rumors as to where we're heading. So, yeah, I really feel like a lot of the times you watch these shows and you just think like, oh, I didn't need to see that this week. Like, haven't really missed anything or I haven't really seen anything. I don't feel like that this week. I feel like I've watched something because of that ending. It was good. Great ending. I gave it a 7, but the Crying Kids has pushed it up to an 8. Awesome stream. Many, many thanks. Wrestling Wriggle. Appreciate it, my friend. Liz Jericho said Drew might be in the UK promoting Clash of Castle tickets. That's true. Yep, he could be. That's true. Supreme God said Roman won't be at Hell in a Cell. Rumor is he'll fight Riddle at Money in the Bank, Randy at SummerSlam, and then Drew at Clash at the Castle. Okay. I heard those were the next 3, but I don't know when he was facing them. So I didn't know if it might be that, and then he does Hell in a Cell with the Usos. I'd love him to do that, actually. I'd love him to be involved in that match, but if he's not, then he's not. Don't forget, UFC early prelims on at 10 p.m. tomorrow. Right, we're done. Thanks a lot for joining us. Hopefully, we can get to the point where we move past all the Sasha, Naomi stuff. I feel like we do keep going on about it way too much. But it's so hard because it's just the biggest thing. And as I've said all throughout this stream, it really opens it up to other conversations as well. It's not just about what should happen to them and were they right or were they wrong. It's opened up a whole conversation about women's tag team wrestling and how important it is and how important it should be. It's opened up that whole question. It's opened up, like, how difficult it is for creative to, like, you know, come up with stories and then have to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, have the Saudi royal family asking for stuff, have Vince changing scripts 5 minutes before the show starts and blah, 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 blah. You know, so, like, it's opened it up to, like, why would there be such frustration backstage? Why would there be a lack of patience backstage? Why would they have been called spoiled after just requesting something? And, you know, it's kind of opened it up to that whole talking about creative, talking about women's tag team wrestling. I feel like this one incident has blown open, like, this whole just plethora of conversations. And I find, personally, I find them very interesting conversations because it's not the kind of conversations you would necessarily have all that often. And so it's kind of opened it up to, like, some really interesting discussions. But I also fully understand people are, you know, have busy days at work. They want to come and just have a laugh and watch some wrestling. And so, you know, these, like, deep dives into these kind of, like, serious sort of subjects are maybe not to everyone's taste. So I am aware. I am fully aware. But, man, you have to go with where the conversation is, don't you? And there's no doubt this is where the conversation is at the moment. So hopefully by the time we get around to next weekend, we will have got, you know, a bit more news maybe on what's happening with Sasha and Naomi. Because I think once we know what's happening with them, that's when we can start to kind of move on then. You know, if we know that they've been suspended for 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, whatever it might be, once we actually know, then there'll be a conversation about is it fair? And then I think we'll, you know, at that point then we'll start to move on, won't we? So awesome. Thanks a lot for watching. I will see you tomorrow for UFC. We are doing Premier League football on Sunday because it's the last games. So we will be back on Sunday for that. And that's on the Football Days channel. And I am doing a special Wrestling Escape Pods. I'm doing it on my own because obviously, you know, Tommy's around on a Tuesday. I don't know that he's free on a Sunday, but I don't really want to be dragging him into these kind of little ad hoc streams. So I am going to do a Wrestling Escape pod on Sunday. That's I don't really know what we're going to talk about. I know that I want to encourage people to take part in our little thing that we're doing. We're asking people to send in videos of their skills, their hidden talents. So maybe if you've never watched the Wrestling Escape pod, what we're looking for is we're looking for people to send in video clips of them showing off their skills. Can be anything. 30 seconds to a minute video clip. Send the video clip to wrestlingdays@gmail.com. And we're doing a little competition to see who wins, basically, our little talent competition. Trying to find some of those hidden skills in the community, those hidden talents in the community. And we're doing that on a Tuesday. And could be anything. Literally could be anything. Singing, dancing, comedy, poetry, art, anything. Yeah, I'm definitely want to do a little thing on Sunday to encourage people to take part in that. So join us for that if you are around. If not, then I'll see you Monday for Raw, which should be interesting because I'm sure we'll hear from RK Bro. Awesome, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.